Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what should be a fantastic day for Rocket League. This is the BSL Season number 2. I'm Jarv Jam. Together with Face, we'll be providing you with some exciting action. This is the very first day. CSGO and PUBG has already happened in the previous days of the week, but I think the Rocket League is where it's gonna be even better. Oh, actually, it says our league. No, that's completely the wrong person. No, that's not our league. That is Face. We have imported him straight from Netherlands. And now he'll be providing us with very special analysis. Face, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you for inviting me over to come and cast this tournament. I haven't been much in this scene, but I see a few names that I do recognize, so I'm looking forward to some good games.
And I do believe we might have some extra audio over there. But yeah, Face, obviously, this will be a quick look into the scene because Baltic Rocket League isn't exactly that well known, but we're still trying to get there. We just as a whole, Baltic region has not been able to field as many athletes, cyber athletes, as you would perhaps want it. Really, the rest of Europe is basically beating us in every single way. But this is a great way for the teams to for the players to show themselves on the bigger stage, because after the season is over, and you better mark those remaining 6 weeks on your calendar, every single Sunday at 3 p.m. local time, we'll be showcasing you another 4 games. I'll talk about the games that we'll be having today in just a moment. And then at the end of November, we'll be going to Tallinn for yet another HyperTown Expo for the final, where 2 of the best teams from this season will be competing for the lion's share of prize of that 2,000 euro prize pool. And that's great money, and the ability to play at LAN, I mean, I'd say that is an invaluable experience.
Yeah, just the experience you're getting there, like, it's just gonna be fun to meet up everyone of your team. Like, some of these guys haven't seen each other in real life yet because they're playing online. So this is a good chance for them to meet up and get to know each other. And of course, the experience. If you want to grow as a player and get into like that bubble, that like professional play, those LANs will get you there. They will get you the experience that is needed to get to that next level.
Right, so yeah, once again, we'll be going to Tallinn on November 23rd. So again, mark your calendars for that, buy the tickets, and you can buy the tickets already. Early bird tickets are already available, or rather, there's only 2 days to get them until the 1st of October. Go to www.hypertown.pro. A 2-day festival ticket costs you 21 euros, 1-day ticket 17 euros, and a VIP ticket, you might want to get that. That'll get you over 60 euros, but there's a lot of benefits going with that one. So I don't think you want to be missing that. Obviously, I will be there. My co-host and co-commentator, Arlik, will be there. Face is here. We'd love to have Face as well. We'd love to have absolutely everyone there. But, well, at the very least, you'll have to. Of course, the CSGO finals will be there as well. And for the first time ever here in Europe, and with the biggest, maybe not Europe in the Baltics, but definitely for the first time, the biggest ever prize pool for a Baltic-hosted tournament. Guns of Boom, the worldwide famous mobile game Guns of Boom, will have their finals in Tallinn. Participants from all over the world, Brazil, USA, India, and Europe as well, will fight for a grand prize of $170,000. That's, I mean, who can say no to that? And I'm pretty sure the crowd will be packed for that, and so many people will be coming there as well. That's not even everything. Obviously, the HyperTown will be having their usual cosplay shows and sort of, well, not tournaments. You don't exactly have a tournament in cosplay, but you do have a little bit of a competition. That's the word I'm looking for. And as a result, it will have more than 40 of the local Baltic cosplayers, and they will be judged by some of the biggest names in cosplay as well. So you can also register for that until 27th of October. You are able to submit your application. The website is still the same, www.hypertown.pro. And even if you can't make it there, you can win some cool prizes as well. Every single Wednesday, Starting from 7 p.m., you can participate in PUBG skill contests. Basically, you play, you get points, you amass those points, and you win some fantastic prizes. For this one, though, go to www.BESL.Pro, and you'll be able to learn more about how you can participate, what you can win, and just, hey, start gearing up for that one. So, Face, that's all about the overall thing. We sort of wanted to welcome the viewers and, of course, you to our very humble abode. But now let's talk about actually the things at hand, because as everyone might have guessed by this point, we are having a Rocket League tournament, a big league, 8 teams, and today we'll be showcasing 4 games, and in just a moment we'll talk about every single one of them.
We will, but Rocket League, for the players and people who don't know it yet, it's very simple. It's soccer with cars. It's like the manliest game out there, and the goal of it is, of course, to score a goal with your car. You can fly, you can flip, you can dribble, you can do all kinds of things. It's amazing, it's fun, and I would say if you haven't tried it out yet, please do, because it's so much fun to play with your friends. I've had the pleasure to play with Jar of Jam too, and it's always fun.
Oh yeah, I remember those days fondly. I wasn't the best player on the team, but I had a lot of fun. And hey, if you have a chance, indeed, do try it out. Yep, you need to buy the game. It's not free to play, unfortunately. But hey, I'd say what I've paid for this game after 1,000 of hours, almost close to 1,000 of hours, I'd say that money has been well spent. But one way or the other, let's quickly go through our today's schedule. We'll start with Bad Dudes versus the Backflip Boys, then go on to Time Chasers versus Postgame Strong. Third game will be Imperial versus Mind Games eSports, and then to close out the stream, Team Black Diamond will be playing versus the Time Chasers again. A couple of teams obviously playing today twice, or rather specifically the Time Chasers, and well, we'll see what happens, because we consider Time Chasers to be the strongest team. So right now they can either immediately make their intentions known, and they already have made their intentions known. I've heard them saying they are not afraid of anyone in this league. So overconfidence, either it's there for a reason, or they can be brought down a peg by the teams really willing to take a bite out of the leader, out of the potential winner.
And everyone also mentioned that they're all scared of Time Chasers, especially Minfy. Very strong player. Everybody said, well, there's one guy we're really scared of, it's Minfy. And they also said the Time Chase themselves, where Minfy plays on. What is their goal? Well, their goal was to not lose a single game. So let's see if someone can at least take that from them.
Again, overconfidence, perhaps. There is a reason for that. We'll talk about more about Time Chasers later on, where the game is up here on screens. But for first round, let's actually talk about our very first game. Surprise, surprise! It's not going to be that, interestingly enough. Nope. Let's actually quickly double check. Very strange indeed.
It's going to be Bad Dudes versus the Backflip Boys.
Indeed, it should be. So why isn't it?
And if you want to look a little bit more into the teams, the Backflip Boys, there's an interview with one of their players, Sarius. I've read it myself, and that guy is a memer first class. He's got some pretty good jokes in there. He's also a very interesting guy in what he does in his everyday life. So I would say go check it out and see what Sarius is up to.
Yeah, it's a lovely piece of work. Do we have another interview with the leader? I would guess the leader, at the very least, one of the leading figures in the Time Chasers Why Not Party. But first, indeed, let's go through our first matchup. It's the Bad Dudes, represented by Haloom, Dr. Zool, and Kobe Jack, and the Backflip Boys. It's Garsho, Kartu, and Sarius. And this is an interesting match to start on, because if the Backflip Boys are a familiar sight, they have played in the previous season, this is the same roster. They have shown to be a really great team in the previous season. They got themselves, I'd say they were a strong, solid third place team. They finished joint third at LAN finals. And all throughout the season, they were that team that has been basically fighting with the two leaders, which were the professional Ball Chasers and Weite. Together with Spectre, Backflip Boys went then to LAN, but their opposition proved to be a little bit too tough, although they showed pretty great Rocket League. I'd say, for me personally, they might be the number 2, number 3 team in this season.
Well, we'll see if they can make it. They first have to go through the Bad Dudes. And the bad dudes, Hulom and Dr. Zul from Estonia, and Kobe Jack, an import from England, they've gone to a qualifier and they only dropped, I think it was one game, or did they go to lowers? I kind of forgot, I'm sorry. But I'm looking forward what they can do, because we have 4 qualified teams in the series and all of them have the same goal: reach that top 4. They want to take that top 4 spot so they know that they can play next season instead of getting kicked out at the end.
Indeed, yeah. The structure of the league, just if you quickly mention that, it is that the top 4 teams are staying, top 2 teams are going to LAN, and the bottom 4 unfortunately are relegated and have to requalify for the next season. As a couple of teams already have, a couple of teams have sort of dropped their players. But as a result, we had a lot of mix-ups. If you thought the roster madness, the roster shuffle in Europe and North America was crazy, get prepared for this, because there's pretty more. Just a little bit of spoiler. Only two teams have kept their rosters, and one of them is, of course, Back to the Boys, that we'll be seeing in just a moment. So let's see. I believe we're slowly getting ready for that game. But man, what a great way would be to start this one off. Again, later on, some of the strongest teams will be playing, perhaps some of the outsiders. But this one, I'd say it's a trial by fire. Bad dudes, we haven't seen them in last season. None of these players were actually have been participating in the previous season of BESL. As a result, we know roughly what their level might be, but there's a lot of space, a lot of potential for them to surprise us. Just like in last season, I was really hoping for Postgame Strong and Mind Games eSports to surprise us. I'd say the bad dudes have a potential to throw a couple of upsets here and there. It's their first season. Nobody expects them to win the whole thing, so folk might be underestimating them, or we'll see what happens. But one way or the other, Face, I do believe actually we do have everyone ready, which is a very pleasant way to go about it. So, would you and everyone else also watching, would you folks like to see some Rocket League?
Yes, for sure. That's what I've come out for today. It's gonna be a great day with this first match. I'm also really looking forward, because one of my friends is also playing this tournament, but we'll get to that later. First, we have the bad dudes versus the backflip boy.
Indeed, we do have. So, without any further ado, let's get into the action, because the action is on your screens right now. Right, Sarius and Hulum straight for the kickoff. And you can expect Kartu, Sarius, and Garsho to play in between each other. Garsho was mostly sitting in the back for the previous season. I'd say he was that third player, but look at that. Who's attacking? Of course, it is the bad dudes, but the counterattack immediately strikes back. Man, what a great start they could have had. Unfortunately, they succumbed to that counterattack since everyone just abandoned the ball, it seems.
Yeah, it was a quick counterattack by the backflip boys, but I saw Kobe Jack on the side. He was going for the mid boost, but instead of flipping forward, I think he double jumped, so he couldn't make it back in time. A little bit of a mistake on the bad dudes, but they just started. They can easily recuperate.
Yep, they got themselves with a quick attack, and look at that. They are forcing the backflip boys to rush back to the defense. Had to pretty much use all 3 players over there. And the attacks are continuing, they're staying in the attack. And I'd say that it's the backflip boys right now in the field that are looking a little bit nervous. And it's the bad dudes that are looking like a much more composed team. Hello still keeping the ball in the backflip boys half. One misses, but Kobe Jack still keeps the ball alive. Now counterattack is not started. The backflip boys aren't being able to string. Even there are not being able to string a series of passes. And as a result, it's the bad dudes continuing to return back into the half. Orange is still being pressured. More plays in. Perhaps they're not really getting a good sort of chokehold on the side of the backflip boys. But the bad dudes continuing to push the ball in. And the counterattack, this needed a good clear. Unfortunately, they couldn't find it.
I'm a little bit scared though for the bad dudes. They are doing great in offense. They're creating chances. It's a little bit scary for the backflip boys. But the counter-attack of the backflip boys, they've been so dangerous. If they don't watch out, it's going to be a 2-0 very quickly because they don't look for their defense.
Yep, that might be a problem, and sometimes it's a problem for the teams who are really not able to balance their play. They think, all right, we're just gonna be aggressive, and against weaker teams that helps. But the moment a stronger team starts testing out, it seems it might not be the best idea. But I wouldn't say that the Backflip boys right now are running away with it, or that the bad dudes are completely overwhelming. It's getting to be a pretty even game, but this is the first game, and first games sometimes are proven to be a little bit shaky.
Yeah, they certainly can be, but they're going quite even, like you mentioned, and it's lovely to watch to start with an even matchup, at least in the first 2.5 minutes that we've seen. It can either swing both ways. The bad dudes are still looking for their first goal. They've been aggressive, but finishing hasn't been their strong part.
You know, I'm hoping to see that first goal. I'm hoping that it finally will start. But there's Haloum, he getting bullied out by Sarius. And a goal happens just off the fact that, hey, there's no goalie in the net. Kobe Jack a little bit late to the challenge. And man, well, if you don't have anyone in the net, that's an open opportunity. Kartu makes it 2-0 at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Not exactly the 2-0 round, but hey.
No, it is not, but it was close. And we also see that efficiency is key. It's 4 shots at the side of the bad dudes, while Backflip boys only have 2. Here comes maybe the third. They go again for the bump. They don't succeed, but they've been more efficient in offense, and it's been paying out.
Let's see how this works. Haloum, he was approaching that ball very dangerously straight into the net, but his teammates are able to save him. Perhaps they can once again start a siege. Here's Kartu on a dribbling mission. What's the plan for the bad dudes? Seemingly they have a couple of set plays, but they're not always being able to execute. And here is the difference in speed. Garsha, he had a perfect opportunity from the flank, but he beamed it just a little bit. And while the Backflip boys are still staying in the attack, even if for a little, it's, as you said, bad dudes still need that good touch, still need that finishing. Perhaps that demolition will open something up, especially with Garsho in the air, only Saris in the net. But rolling the ball on the wall, seemingly that's not the way for the bad dudes to be the Backflip boys defense.
Oh, and the bad dudes don't have looks like a plan in their offense. They're just like, let's go fast and try to hit the ball towards the net. While the Backflip boys, they wait for the counter and they also go for the demos, which has been helping them out.
Yeah, you can see 2 difference in game plans, and I have to agree with that. The Backflip boys game plan right now is looking a little bit more solid. Well, again, it's only the first game, but this also could be a sign of things to come, and perhaps not the best things. There's Saris keeping the ball alive with him, while Haloum challenges him. Doctors will place off the wall, but no aim in that. They're just touching the ball for touching the ball's sake. And right now they need a good idea. Maybe Haloum can put it past, but look at how far every single one of the players from bad dudes are. I think they just recognize that that touch is not gonna go anywhere. But they need that aggression as well. Otherwise, I mean, if the chances are being created, you need to also have a second player, a third player to react to them. Doesn't seem like they are putting anyone close to that. And even if the result for this game wouldn't be as crazy, it wasn't a huge sweep, it does seem to be like the Backflip boys do have a number for the bad dudes, and we might see even bigger changes come game number 2 and game number 3.
Yeah, but I think there's still a lot of hope for the bad dudes. There were a few things that came to mind when we see the Backflip boys' defense. Whenever there's like a little bit of a dangerous chance, we see them panic a little bit. And it hasn't led to a goal yet, but it was very close multiple times. So if the bad dudes like calm down a bit and instead of shooting at the net,
that might as well work out for them. And let's see, bad dudes. Well, first of all, again, congratulations with your debut in BSL. It's great to have you here. Unfortunately, you are against one of the strongest teams, but on the other hand, it's a good test to just let's try and prove that you can actually play versus the best, because their aims. Actually, let me quickly see. Bad dudes are aiming for a top 4 finish. That's a pretty brave assumption, but hey, I wouldn't put it past them. They can indeed try and make that a possibility, but Backflip boys definitely is one of the teams that will be fighting for that top 4 spot. As the game number 2 begins, Backflip boys just got the game number 1. But it's not exactly in a super duper convincing fashion. Haloum in the attack gets demolished, ball immediately stolen. Some aerial demonstrations. Oh, Garsho, I think he just ran out of boost, because if he could have gotten that extra touch on the side, that would have been brilliant.
Yeah, he sure had a little bit too less of a boost. Like, his capacity is 100. He needed a little bit more than that, but he couldn't make that happen because it's capped, of course. But it was a good attempt, and we see a little bit of aerial prowess that's on the side of the backflip boys. The bad dudes got away with it, but it was pretty scary.
There we have another series of shots, but just for a second it looked like the backflip boys themselves were shooting. They're just trying to cut off these passes by the bad dudes. Right now trying to cut their attack as well. Still looking for that good opening pass. Car2's patient. Recognizes there might be a possibility that he can get the ball for free on the ground. He does get that. Again, a series of touches by the bad dudes. They do get the control of the ball for periods of time. They can definitely create something with it. But man, oh man, it is not looking like in this game. It's not looking like they're trying to making any progress past the midfield line. And as I say that, there's Kobe Jack, does lose the ball in the process, and once again the bad dudes. The rest of the team is not exactly there. Just like Sarius immediately makes a response on the other end of the field.
And there's the quick counter again. This is, I think, the second goal they've scored out of a quick counter. They were on defense, and 2 seconds later the goal is on the other side of the field, and it also goes in. They're very quick on that defense, but the bad dudes, they like their aggression, but every time they put the ball towards the net, it's getting cleared, and it's not that dangerous as we might hope it would be.
There we go, yet another shot. Dr. Zul coming in through. But this used 2 of the backflip boys players, if they are quick about it. Kobe Jack just loses himself a little bit on the wall, still having trouble recovering and moving on further. We are still looking at the goalless bad dudes, despite them getting some opportunities on the other end field. Maybe now. Oh, look how quick, how close Cardo is playing to the ball. He's just keeping it carefully, but pretty smartly. Does not allow bad dudes to move the ball out. The ball just forced to ping pong from the right side to the left side, never moving forward, or at least most of the time not moving forward, keeping bad dudes from utilizing their possession well.
They have to figure something out to score. Like, they've been scoreless for over 7 minutes right now, and that's a long time. It's not like they didn't have chances. They are playing offensively when they want to, but then the third man doesn't follow up, or is a little bit too far away, and where there isn't a big chance, well, they are too close. And then again, the backflip boys just find the net way easier than the bad dudes do.
Oof, that was a sloppy pass by Garsho, but that pass still works out. It seems like that even with 3 players in the defense, bad dudes having some trouble recognizing where the ball is gonna go. Maybe straight off the kickoff. Sarius on target. Ooh, just a little bit off. He was aiming for that top right corner. His precision was a tad off, but I'd say he was pretty happy with that one, since bad dudes, again, we're not at the end of that one. And it seems like we're slowly will be seeing that difference in speed. It was already showing here and there in the game number 1, but here in game number 2, you can see just how often the backflip boys are getting faster to the ball. Kobe Jack.
I think they've gotten used to the speed of the side of the bad dudes, and they're now responding to it. Like, outpacing them just a little bit, so they bait in the defender and bait him into a 50, and then just be a little bit faster so he doesn't even get a touch on it.
Yeah, and seemingly that works for them perfectly, so as a result, backflip boys are getting the work done. Pass. Oh, that's a great start. Hulum to Kobe Jack to Dr. Zul. That was a passing play I want to see from the bad dudes. They utilized all 3 players, just couldn't finish, but backflip boys were not anywhere near that, so more of that, please. As the game returns back to the side of bad dudes. Save from Hulum and maybe immediate start from Dr. Zul. No, the touch is a little bit off. Kobe Jack, a little bit optimistically moving into the attack. I don't think his teammate had real hold on the ball. As a result, they are forced to leave. Sarius will be setting up Car2. Car2 will be setting up no one but the counter-attack by the bad dudes, but look at that, oof, 2 misses. Dr. Zul was not in the position to take this, then he crosses Hulum. Need to be a little bit more careful, a little bit panicked in their clears. But with 45 seconds still remaining, I'd say the bad dudes still have a chance of scoring at least 1. As it's the backflip boys again with the ball, at very least trying to keep it away from the bad dudes. Garsho, maybe a double tap straight down, but off to the side. Party will be keeping the ball, again, just dead. All they need is to hit the ball off the backboard, hit the ball off the players of the bad dudes, and game number 2 will be in the pocket of the backflip boys.
And if we look at like shots in general, they're even again in this game on shots. They have the same amount of shots, but still no goal from the bad dudes. Here's maybe a good opportunity. It's on the backboard. It gets cleared to the side, but the bad dudes, they're trying to pull offensive plays off, but the defense from the backflip boys is always there.
Yeah, it's, again, another solid demonstration of what the backflip boys can do. And then it's not like they did a lot of fancy plays. They were getting a little bit fancy. I'd say more aerial plays came into action. They were trying. They now know what their opposition can do, and so they've adjusted their play accordingly. They know how well they can sort of try and perform. What's their limit is, what their opposition limit is, and how they can do just enough without risking themselves. Because the moment their defense is open, so far it has been, as you said, solid. Backflip boys might be vulnerable to the attack from bad dudes.
And there's always more than one player in the defense of the backflip boys. The one is waiting in the net and the other one is covering other options. And that's what makes it so hard for the bad dudes to score. Because if they shoot at the net, it's gonna get saved and someone else is gonna follow up. But if they don't shoot it at the net, right now someone else is waiting to catch that ball. But if we look on the side of the bad dudes, every time they are in defense, it's risky because only one player is back. The other two are still rotating back. And that is when speed comes into play. If you're a little bit faster, if you get that recover instead of like bouncing around a little bit more, you will be back to help your defender out. And that's what we see on the side of the backflip boys. But the bad dudes, they're just hanging around a little bit too long.
Well, they have one more game to try and fix all the issues they've been having so far. Game number 3 of the best of 5. You win 3, you are the winner of the overall series. And right now, as another shot comes in, I'd say we have what might be a clear favorite in this one. But the things that you mentioned, Face, I'd say they are all fixable. It's nothing too drastic, but it does take a little bit of sort of breaking your mental approach to it all to try and get something out of this game. As Haloom starts himself an attack, but again, just touches. I'd say when the bad dudes were having those passing plays, they looked incredibly strong. Those rolls on the wall, I'm still not a fan of.
Yeah, but those passing plays were still not towards the net. They have to be on target if you want to score. At least the passing plays have to be, because probably no one else is following up on an animal. And like you mentioned, yes, those things are fixable for sure, but not in a span of like 3, 4, or even 5 games. Give them like a week or 2, and they might be just a whole different team.
Thankfully, there are 7 weeks of league play, so bad dudes, start preparing right now. It would be better if the preparation would be have started even before that. Haloom wins a good 50-50. But hey, you learn in the process. You now know the level against which you need to play. And right now they're trying to move on out. I'd say right now just comparing, just seeing where the back boys are on the field. I'd see there are gaps. There are gaps that the bad boys or the bad dudes. Keep calling them bad boys. I'd hope they accept the bad boys as well. But there are gaps that the bad dudes can utilize. They only need indeed have to move out together and support each other. Otherwise, those individual plays will just not get them anything against an organized defensive backflip.
And here's again maybe a scary chance, but that was a good clear by Dr. Azul. He found it this time, but no follow-up on it. Pass to Kobe. Jack tries to get it to the middle. It does end up there. And though the defense of the backflip boys 3-man strong, he gets it out.
Oof. That was as close as this could possibly have gotten. Zul still keeps the ball in. This is reminiscent. Oh, if only for a second I jinxed him. I wanted to say this was reminiscent of the game number 1. They were putting on pressure on their opposition. Unfortunately, one misread, really. Haloom and the rest of the bad dudes were on the ground, not really expecting that aerial play, and as a result, it seems they've just left staring as the ball sailed past them and straight into the net. A lot of proactivity is needed from the bad dudes if they want to counter those plays by the backflip boys, who are seemingly just playing much faster than they are.
Yeah, the bad dudes saw their opportunity. They were moving up. They were like, guys, this is it. This is gonna be our first goal. But then again, they were a little bit too far up and a little bit too slow. And we're now 13 minutes in, and they still haven't scored.
Well, that stings, but well, at the end of it all, it's a lot more than that as well. So 2 minutes for the bad dudes, getting into the attack, putting the ball through. But I think right now counterattacks maybe their best chance. Make sure that you stop all 3-player attack by the backflip boys, and then get a counterattack going. Because every single time that bad dudes attack, they have the ball, they put it on the other end of the field, but there's always someone waiting. And here they can't even get a chance at the counterattack as yet another passing play. Yeah, Zul just sets up Kartu with that ball, and Sari's on the follow-up already expecting the ball to be somewhere there or just anywhere. He is in a good position to follow up on the initial play. It was made 2-0. Backflip boys who are looking to win yet another game with a 2-0 scoreline, not allowing bad dudes to score once. I spoke not too soon yet, but man, that was dangerous.
That was certainly dangerous. You mentioned like counterattacks are maybe their best bet. Well, we've seen a few successful counterattacks from the backflip boys. And what was the most important feature of a good counterattack is a good, strong, and heavy clear. And when Dr. Zul doesn't hit that well, you're gonna get punished. So if they want to make sure that they get a counterattack, get that clear first or nothing else will come out.
Well, you heard the man. Get those clears. Right now, well, they are in that half. They are crossing into the orange side of the field. We had some, let's say, demolitions in the previous season. We had some really ugly score lines, a lot of stat padding as well. But here, it's not a done deal. 2-0 is not a done deal. It's just that they are not allowing backflip boys to completely rule the field. But unfortunately, as a result, the bad dudes are not getting themselves proper chances. See backflip boys in the attack. Maybe Garsho can set up his teammates, but once again, look at that, how quickly they fall back. You could see 2 of the players of backflip boys pretty much on the midfield line, waiting, making sure that by no means they're giving their lead away, or even giving 1 goal in, because that wouldn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. But hey, it might just start a comeback. With a 3-0 with 12 seconds remaining phase, I don't see it like being so. It seems like it's a 3-0 to the backflip boys through and through.
Yeah, that was a great passing play between Saris and Kartu. Really good speed, good placements, and good power. That's what you need. And when you were talking, 2-0 is not a done deal. 3-0 is, definitely. But if you look at the play from the bad dudes, I would say 2-0 is still a done deal. They haven't scored once in this whole series. They might get an opportunity right now to do it, but they failed to achieve that. And that's a quick 3-0 from the backflip boys. Maybe not the biggest score lines, but they kept their goal clean and didn't get scored upon once.
It's solid performance for them. Not that many shots on target either. You can see that the bad dudes only managed 3, which is... If they converted every single one of them, well, that would be a grand 3-3 scoreline. But I think it was getting worse and worse. Unfortunately, the stat lines escapes. We'll talk about the attempts that the bad dudes took in those games a little bit later on. But hey, congratulations, we're done with our first game. And again, welcome back to the backflip boys. Welcome to the league, to the bad dudes. And How are you feeling about this one, Face? Do you think that the backflip boys are they looking like the team that should be able to contest for those top spots? Or maybe that's a question for a little bit of a later time, because we will still have more teams to showcase. Maybe I'm asking that question too soon.
No, I think I can solidly say they have a good chance to make it, just because they didn't get scored upon. Like the bad dudes there, they want to be a contender for the top 4. But if you're cannot score on a team,
if you can't score on a team, the team scores on you, it seems. Have we lost Face? Well, he's still there. He's technically still there. But folks, we're gonna go on a short commercial break. Right after that, we'll be talking more about this game.
Make that top 4.
Talk about a little bit more stats about this one. And just...
Well, yeah, okay. Well, we've seen that the backflip boys started out okay. They had the same amount of shots at the bad dudes had the same amount of shots at the backflip boys, but the defense of the backflip boys was just way stronger. And slowly but surely, when the series progressed, The bad dudes didn't get that many shots anymore. They tried to stay back a little bit more, but they just got spat out by the backflip boys like 9 out of 10 times. Every 50-50 they won, every clear from the backflip boys was stronger than one of the bad dudes. And eventually, all that bottles up, and then it's going to be hard to even get back into this year. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming weeks if the bad dudes can improve on themselves, that they can get that offense rolling a little bit better and get a plan behind it. And I'm just looking forward. Who can score upon the backflip boys? They did very well. They didn't get scored upon once. And how long can they keep on doing that?
Well, it was just only one series, but there is still 6 more games in the season to go. I'd say they won't be able to do a completely scoreless run against the Time Chasers. I'd say that's pretty much impossible. But first, indeed, let's go to an ad break. We'll talk more about this game and as well move into the next one straight after these messages, so don't go anywhere.
Spelajont Ipiviimaa Tsekin siten on lavasti no Gallinin signetra Brennes Lavea Tallinn Otuhum ja Nordberg Salava
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you and I remain. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā viss varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend ballīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We had our very first game on your screens already. It was, of course, the Bad Dudes versus the Backflip Boys. A pretty convincing 3-0, if I do say so myself. I am still Jar of Jam. He is still, for whatever reason, utterly. No, that is absolutely and utterly wrong. Let's try that again. There we go. He is indeed our very own Face. I'm still Jar of Jam. Nothing has changed on this end. And Face. So we just seen the opening game. We just seen 3-0. I wouldn't say it was a demolition, but I'd say that was a methodical game. How the Backflip Boys were able to deconstruct their opposition. I'm not saying methodical in a boring way. I'm saying methodical. They did what they needed to do, and they did that well.
Yeah, they started off playing a little bit defensive, just waiting and see what the opponents could do. When they finally figured out, like in the first game, it's like, okay, we'll just play some counter plays, play defensive, let's see what happens. And they got a few good counter goals. And they also went for demos when they saw the opportunity. But in game 2 and 3, they noticed that they don't really have to go for those demos anymore, or have to rely on the counterplay to win that. And they just played out their game. And what was really a standout to me at the Backflip Boys is there wasn't a standout player. They were playing as a team and everybody was doing their part, and it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it's one of the rosters, as I mentioned previously, that has stayed together. So as a result, they have already managed to gel together. In the very first season, they continue to play together. And right now, that very extra can indeed help them to propel themselves to greater heights. As you can see right now, obviously this was only our first game played, but that 7-goal difference, that extra 7 goals scored, no goals conceded, might be the difference maker at the end of the season. In some cases, perhaps you would want to be winning even with a bigger scoreline, since again, last season we had some blowout games. 10 goals, I think 12 goals was one of the games. So it was for the teams that already have been qualified for LAN, so that wasn't that big of a problem. But still, it makes a difference. It does indeed in the end makes a difference. So, man, it is something else. But lastly, just a little bit more about this. This can go away, and we'll just go back to our very own schedule over here. Not much to talk in terms of stats, unfortunately, for that game. What we saw really on the field is that, yes, while Bad Dudes had some possession, I'd say 40% easily. Would you say 40%? Because they were constantly seen with the ball. It's just like they got the ball, and then they sort of lost it in the attack, and that also resulted in the amount of chances that they took. They had their chances, but those chances were not properly converted, and as a result, 0 goals was the result for the Bad Dudes.
Yeah, it's harder to say because in the first game I felt like the Bad Dudes had maybe like more than 50%, maybe 60% ball possession. But the further along we went to the games, the ball possession switched a bit. And of course, what's your definition of ball possession? Like, is one-touch ball possession? In my opinion, one-touch is not ball possession. Ball possession is when you have control over where the ball is going and what the plan is behind it. And I think that on the side of the Backflip Boys, they had that the majority of the time in the third and second. But in the first game, it was a little bit like 50-50, maybe a little bit more to the Bad Dudes because they were more in offense.
Well, that is that result. But let's move on to our very second game. Just a second game. It is, of course, the Time Chasers, the team that will potentially take it all in this season. Although, again, they've hyped themselves up. They've hyped us up. What could be either a big disappointment, or most likely it will be like, yes, they will completely dominate the league through and through. They're a position post-game strong, yet another team that has stayed together and will be. This is, I think, one of the teams that I hope that they will start playing even better. The thing for them was they've started the previous season okay-ish. They had a fantastic week 2. They've all of a sudden, like, from a team that we thought, oh man, this is not really going that well for them. They moved from that team to, wow, these passing plays are tremendous. In the matchup, I do believe that's the matchup against the Mind Games eSports. They've all of a sudden shown passing plays that would not look out of place in a much higher level of the tournament. So if they have indeed taken that bit of their play and managed to make it so that it's not random, it's not just sometimes it's happening, sometimes it's not, and I'm feeling like they have a pretty good chance at actually, at the very least, put a couple of sticks in the spokes of the wheels of the Time Chasers.
Yeah, because they're still the Time Chasers. They are, well, we make them the favorites, but they also call themselves the favorites. And I get why. If you just look at their lineup, they look way stronger. On the side of Time Chase, we have Why Not Party, Mimphipie, and Trex. And on the other side, we have on Postgame Strong, I'm gonna botch one of these names, Rukava, Arceus, and Dipsylv. Did I do that correct?
Still, wow, I'm having some troubles getting that information on the screens for you folks. Let's try a couple more times, maybe this time. And a little bit of pronunciation. No, still not. Okay, well, we'll try that again. But quickly, it's Why Not Party, Mimphipie, and Trex, and Rukava, Arceus, or Arceus. Actually, I'm even confused on that regard. And Dipsy, just Dipsy.
Just Dipsy.
Yeah, you just have it as Dipsy. Dipsy, my usual co-caster Arleek loves to pronounce him as Dipsy Love, which I'm not sure if his preferred way of hearing that, but at the very least, it's. I mean, if you wish, indeed.
If I ever heard the name Dipsy, I'm thinking of a show that they will send out on the television when I was younger. It was called the Teletubbies. I don't know if people know it. You have Dipsy, Lala, Po. They all have a different color. There's like a vacuum cleaner that eats all the cookies. It was really fun.
There was okay, that is something I don't remember. I haven't really seen much of it, but right, third time's the charm, folks. Nope, first time still not charm. Apologies. I would love to get some information on the teams on the screen right now, but this will have to do. So again, quickly on those teams. Time Chasers. You take 2 players from the 2 of the strongest teams in the previous season. That's Why Not Party from Professional Ball Chasers and Mimphipie from Weite. Weite no longer are in the league, but they're still a strong squad that will be able to, well, they have made their legacy, is what they did. Then you add one of the best substitute players. Trex was only able to play 1 series last season, but he completely destroyed the stats. He came in, he demolished everyone, he said, all right, that'll be it for me, it's gonna be perfect. And then I'd say, as we mentioned previously, the reason why they're saying we're not afraid of anyone this season, it's because these are the strongest players, and they are just gonna most likely demolish their opposition. Oh, actually, apologies. Thanks. It's so quiet in my headphones that I have actually missed the start of the game. So without any further ado, Time Chasers and oopsie daisy, Postgame Strong, and just in time. See, just because we haven't seen the first opening 45 seconds doesn't mean we missed something. Nope, straight to goal. Trex sets up his teammate Why Not Party, and look at that. That's a 1-0 in favor of Time Chasers.
Yeah, you didn't miss that much. It was just a little bit of a back and forth and ping pong game, and eventually Time Chasers do get out, but they look a little bit like equal to each other. But I don't know, Time Chasers still have to get into it. I'm looking forward what they can pull off and which passing plays we'll see. That was a good one from Why Not Party. Trex is waiting. Saved from Dipsy, but it's not out yet. Mimphipie puts it above the net. But the pressure from Time Chasers keeps on going, but the shots have ceased.
Well, there's pressure continuing. Perhaps they've just lulled you into a sense of security. Like, shots maybe not coming in. Trex wasn't the most dangerous shot of Trex, but look at that. I feel like 3 players of Postgame Strong take themselves out. They were so that safeguard. I'm gonna go for that ball. In the end, everyone goes and everyone takes themselves out, and it's an easy finish.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna get it clearer because the ball went to the side of the wall and came back, and there was a lot of time. I think there's a lot of false sense of security because Mimphipie just scored the 3rd one out of nowhere.
Where was he? Oh, he was on his end of the field, just challenging. And it's gonna be a tough road for Postgame Strong because their passes, they're just clears, crosses. Every single time they will be contested by the Time Chasers, and it's not gonna be easy. You're gonna see a lot of aerial plays. You're gonna see play that most likely will be faster than you want it to be. Again, if you are a player from Postgame Strong, and oh no, that will be great. that good answer for that long play. Post Game Strong can find the target from way over there on the end of the field.
Yeah, that was almost the first goal, and they would have been quite happy with that. But again, it didn't make it all the way in. And now it's again Time Chasers who just put on that pressure. And even though every time the ball goes to the Time Chasers half, they just take their time, they control it, they pass it, and they set up another attack. They are just in total control.
Let's see, we're starting to see why they're considered to be the favorites, and man, their quality of play, just even individually, how they played for their respective teams in the previous season was already impressive. Why Not Party, of course, is our reigning champion of the BESL Rocket League. So we already expect some great stuff from Mimfibai, player that almost everyone universally says they're afraid of, and Trex, who people haven't seen, but I'm guaranteeing you need to be afraid of it. So together, these three, the only question might have been, like, would they really mix and match well with each other? Let's see if this is the answer. Trex is scoring a fourth one, and at the time Chasers right now on a solid path to take game. Oh god. Take the game number one. Easy sentence, but hey, made it hard.
Yeah, that was a great press from Why Not Party, but also that follow-up from Trex was really fast. I do see one thing on the side of Time Chaser that's out of line. Why Not Party is wearing a traffic cone. Where is his party hat? Come on, man, you're Why Not Party, so I need to see a party hat.
Well, I'd say he's just celebrating with whatever he can, with his goal explosions, with just the flair in which he's scoring stuff. It's okay. Party will come later. Party will come later when they will qualify for the finals and potentially take the finals as is. Actually, last season we already had professional ball chasers, so Why Not Party and Weite, that's Mimfify, in the finals, and we actually thought that Weite was going to take it, but it was a slightly different story. So even if you see a team dominating like that, it might not yet be over. Still, we see Why Not Party tracks. Oh, a little bit high. Is there any clears? Okava is trying to come in quickly. Dipsy, maybe a clear? No, just they are honestly. As fifth goal comes in, it almost feels like the post-game Strong are a little bit afraid to approach the ball because they know what Time Chasers can do to it.
Yeah, they're just scared of Trex putting that on the backboard or shooting it on net. And then Trex is like, no guys, no, I won't do that. I will pass to the middle because your guys are waiting so far back. And then Why Not Party is waiting there. He takes a banger of a shot, and then it's already 5-0. This is just a slaughter.
They're already setting up backboard plays for themselves, but you could see that the post-game Strong seemingly is getting much more aware of those plays, and they're contributing more players in. As yet another attempt comes in through. All right, still, despite all the quality, despite all the technical quality from the Time Chasers, I do feel like if they are just being one-trick pony, we're gonna just do a backboard play. Sooner or later, post-game Strong will wisen up to that one. Not perhaps on this attempt, but on a couple of next ones. This game is as good as over. With 6-0, you're not coming away from this. But for the next game, I'd say post-game Strong have seen enough from the playstyle of the Time Chasers that will allow them to cut that 6-0 to a 3-0, or even just keep it tied for as long as they possibly can. And then we have a good possibility of seeing Time Chasers being playing from behind, for example. Still not in this game. 7-0. Trex and the company is just not allowing post-game Strong to even take a breather.
We said in the previous game that speed was a factor that made sure that the backflip boys won. Well, I think speed is more than crucial here in the Time Chasers. They're just beating them to every ball. They're faster. They make the ball go faster. They're just everywhere. And it makes it almost impossible for post-game Strong to keep up.
It doesn't seem like they're able to. 8-0. That wasn't even a tough shot. I don't think so. It was just a quick play, but if Arceus was in the net, and it's just a series of misses. Arceus wasn't in the net. Now when I look at the replay, he was not anywhere near that play. Not right now. I'd say they're just absolutely shell-shocked, the post-game Strong squad. They didn't know what hit him, and that truck seemingly is hitting even stronger than the previous season. I do believe post-game Strong, one of those teams last season who got succumbed to their opposition, just demolishing them. And, well, in a way, his story hasn't exactly changed, but I'd say it's still doable for them. But the first game, There's absolutely no questions about it. You can kill the clock right now. It's an 8-0. It's a 1-0 in series overall. Thankfully, it only counts for one game because it would suck. It would suck if all of a sudden, if you score more than 10 goals, for example, then all of a sudden you score more than 10 goals, that counts as 2 games. Hey, move on forward.
I think that would make this series very short. But Time Chase is by far the better team. I've played with Why Not Party a few times just online, and he's a really fast, creative, attacking player. I would say that his weakest suit is his defense, but you don't have to defend if the opponents only have 1 shot and you guys had 18. So I think he's trying out his strong suit.
He is definitely not making it easy on their position. So 18 shots. That is, I'd say, crazy. But it could have been even crazier as, well, saves were still coming through. Postgame Strong are able, I feel like, to make that initial save. But it's the recovery and their readiness for the next one is, I think, what betrays them just a little bit.
Yeah, like their speed also. It's like they're just not fast enough. Every time the ball comes somewhere in the field, if it's the left or it's the right, if it's the backboard, if it's just rolling, it doesn't matter. Because Time Chasers will 9 out of 10 times be the first one to the ball. And they're not going to be first with like a car link. They're going to be first by a mile. They can do what they want. They can shoot it, they can pass it, they can air dribble it, they can dribble it normally. And they will do all these kinds of things. And post-game Strong just haven't found a way to deal with it. And I don't think they will, because that speed is so hard to keep up with.
Right, yeah, and as I think was pretty obvious during the game itself, is that at some point, Postgame Strong were stuck in their own half, afraid to move out. Even when the ball was sort of in neutral territory, when the Time Chasers themselves, they can't possibly, despite their strength. 1-0, as Smith opened to score in this one. Even the Time Chasers can't possibly keep up with the ball 100% of the time. But in those moments, the Postgame Strong were not able to, we're just too afraid to move out to the ball. That gave Time Chasers the possession back without them even really hard trying for it.
That was also a great pass. I think it was Drex who gave it. Yes, he was out of boost and he still made it with that flip. Now he goes for a ceiling shot. Will he pass it? No, he cannot. But 2 players of Postgame Strong commit. Now Why Not Party back to the middle. Mimfopai puts it there. Drex takes a shot, but this time Dipsy has the speed to save it.
And this could actually start a great counterattack, but Postgame Strong were not really trusting in their strengths. By this point, we haven't really seen Time Chasers in their defense. That one shot that Postgame Strong took in the previous game was just... They took it, but that in no way showed out how well the Time Chasers defense plays. They need to be tested, because right now they are not even thinking about defense that much. And I think we're seeing those first moments where it's a little bit confusing for them in defense. Their rotation in defense perhaps not showing immediately. But how they're playing in the attack is immediately shown. Rukava can guess where the ball is going off that post. Feels bad man moment.
That was a good shot there by Drex. Unfortunately for Rukava, he couldn't recover. Then the backflip comes in and he gets the 2-0. And if we just looked at what happened during that attack, I don't know if this is going to be a thing, but I've just got the feeling like Time Chasers are like, okay, we're all going to chase as fast as we can. We'll be first to the ball. The other 2 just wait until they see an opportunity and they will go on to it whenever they feel like. And that's what's just happening. They're just going. They're not thinking anymore. There's a ball and they gotta touch it.
Would you agree that is at high level that's how you need to play? Really? There's no time for thinking. Your reaction needs to be that fast. You sort of need to constantly be living 3 seconds in the future. As Drex scores coincidentally the 3rd goal of the game.
The statement you made that you're not thinking is kinda correct, because when you're at such a level, you play like with your subconscious. You're like, oh, I should put this backboard, but you already put it backboard before you got the thought of it, because it's just instinct that makes you do those. So you're not actively thinking, but you're passively thinking a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of instincts to go on, a lot of experience, and experience I think is what Time Chasers have in bros. just wherever they're going with that ball. Arches, Dipsy, look at Dipsy, I think, in this position. He was thinking the attack is gonna come in, but that attack is immediately being killed. And I understand that to move out, to again, just like the bad dudes, we're not really able to support each other in the attack. I think Postgame Store are trying to move together. But the moment their initial pass out gets intercepted, all of a sudden that's 2 players down from their team, only one player in defense, and he's more often than not is not able to do anything.
It just feels like Time Chasers are outclassed. It's really hard for them to keep up with this. It's just like a person from Lithuania would try to ice skate against a Dutch guy. It's just not gonna work out. They're just born with it, and it looks like the Time Chasers are just in another division playing this.
I would say some shade thrown, but I do know that the Dutch speed skaters on ice, that is, are unmatched. Last time I heard, as Why Not Party is himself Lithuanian, he says, I don't want to hear anything about the Dutch. I want to score more goals. Last time I've heard is at some world championship or some big tournament, countries refuse to participate because they knew that the Dutch are gonna win. Just gonna say, no, we're not gonna. They're too great. There's no need for us to bother. I still like to Postgame Strong to bother a lot. Right now, it does seem to me like they're just a series of mistakes here and there, constant misplays. Like I see them on the wall, constantly not getting the touch. As a result, even if they're in the sort of right position to get to the ball, it's just they can't get the ball in the right position. They can get a touch on it, and the Time Chasers are there in the position to continue the play.
Yeah, every time that the Postgame Strong thinks that they're fast enough, you see Captain America running past them saying, on your left, and just getting in. I hope you get that reference. I don't know if all of you watched that movie. But every time here again, there's someone in net, but he can't just move out. He rotated in, he didn't recover right, he landed on the post, and he couldn't get there, doubting if he should go with the front or the back of his car. Didn't make a decision. And the one party doesn't give you time to make a second decision. And he scored the 7th goal.
Oof. I'd say Rukawa perhaps could have moved up front, seeing that his teammate was not in the position to play anything. But also that initial touch by Dipsy, he got a touch. In that situation, he wants to hurriedly clear that ball. But that clear wasn't powerful enough, and that will be every single time into the waiting heads of Time Chasers, who are in the position. And right now, in yet another position, Trex cleans up after Memphify, after the initial shot doesn't coming through, but he doesn't need to be on target. He already took, well, figuratively, with air quotes, took Arceus out. And yeah, as I said, cleanup duty for Trex, another 8-0. And for Postgame Strong, unfortunately, the game isn't over yet. I would really like them to stop this bleeding. But against Time Chasers, as they start yet another one, and Why Not Party beats 2. And then Trex is just shooting because there's no more goalies in the right position. This is looking like they're stealing a candy from Baby repeatedly.
Twitch chat, I'm gonna highlight something else in this game. I don't know if you heard it like 20 seconds ago. I want you to meet RoboJam. He's a man that we've seen many times. Sometimes his mic just turns into a robot. It's always very fun to hear it, and we always have a good laugh about it. It's fun. Sometimes he makes references during it, but most of the time he doesn't know that he's actually RoboJam at the top.
RoboJam. Chances are, actually, folks on stream do not hear that. This is a little bit of technology, but let's not dwell into that a little bit. We obviously, right now, we're just... most things that we're missing right now in this game is perhaps more goals by the Time Chasers. They're already broken their record from a previous game, now at 9, as setting another one. Where's the... Oh, Arceus! I think he was trying to see if his teammate is gonna get the ball. Arceus was in a great position to get a touch in that one, but since Rukawa was as close as well, he just didn't go for it. Oof, that goal could have been saved, because for Trex caliber, that wasn't even a good shot.
No, but he also didn't have boost on the side of Arceus, so if he wanted to jump for it, he would have get bumped by Rukawa, so he could try, but it probably wouldn't have worked out either way. But yeah, it's the 10th goal. It's not like it's gonna matter a whole lot. Maybe later on, if there's gonna be like tiebreakers and goals are important, then yes, it may matter. But in this game, if it's 9 or 10-0, it's not gonna make a difference.
Will 11-0 make a difference, FaZe? What do you think?
Well, with 24 seconds on the clock left, it could make a difference. Like if they score a goal every 2 seconds off this kickoff, it might make a difference if they got into 12, but they haven't. So maybe there's still a chance for post-game strong. Who am I kidding? This is more than over.
Hey. I like these hypothetical situations where mathematically it's still possible. In reality, we know that it's probably not. Oh, man, it's just like Time Chasers. Do you know that there's a team playing against you? Do you know that there are 3 players actively trying to counteract what you're doing on the field? Because it seems like they are... How? On that play, I think on that specific play, I didn't see a single post-game strong player even get a touch on the ball, despite them really going for it. Also, might not get anything here, but oof. Oh, they got the kickoff, yeah, I suppose, but does that really count? Does it count as possession if they just do the kickoff? Nah, I don't think so. Man, that is... I was, again, hoping that after what post-game strong have seen in the first game, that in game number 2, they will recognize what needs to be done. What is the playstyle of the Time Chasers? But firstly, I do believe that the Time Chasers have just gotten more tricks up their sleeve. They just got so many great things, even more skill. They are now playing even faster, and post-game strong have used all their strength in the previous game. It's rough, is what I'm saying.
It certainly is. Like the previous game, we complimented them on their 18 shot. Well, this time they have 25 shots. Like it's not enough yet. And of those 25 shots, only 5 were saved. It's insanity out there. The Time Chasers, like, how many can we score? Well, apparently 12. Maybe we'll see more in next game. I don't know, but post-game strong, they're gonna try, but I don't know how far they will.
Unfortunately, if we take some parallels with last season, where we did see some of these demolition games, teams usually do not have the ability to really bring it back. Even with game number 3, all of a sudden they really gathered themselves. As far as I remember, it was all pretty much complete and utter destruction. Well, it's a lesson. Even if you're getting outplayed like this, I feel like it's a good lesson for the post-game strong. They were in this game. They will be able to take this replay, look back at it, and understand, all right, so this is the level we should be going for. These are the little things, little mistakes that we've been doing. They can look at them from their own angle. They can look at them from their opposition angle. Fake kickoff. Really, Memphify? Almost worked out, actually, but not to be immediately. Maybe this is a great chance. It's 0-0 once again on the scoreboard. It's 2-0 in favor of Time Chasers in the series, but for the first time in a long time, we see post-game strong in the attack. Why not Party? A very precise clear, I have to say. He didn't put a lot of power on it. He didn't just go crazy, but he got the job done. That ball left the blue side pronto.
And if I'm gonna make some quick calculations, and why not Party is trying to get the first one. If they want to exceed their 12-goal scoreline, they have to score every, I think it's about 28 seconds to make up for like 13 goals. But we've almost reached the first minute, and they haven't scored yet. So maybe they won't get into double digit this time.
What is that? Is Time Chasers finally over? They've scored 20 goals in the first 2 games. Have they used up all their goals today? They still have another series to play. I'd say that's very careless of them. I think it does feel like they've just looking for a good opening right now. They are not playing, perhaps completely not thinking about it. They're right now trying to bring a little bit more of, all right, let's see what we can do if we just sort of play a little bit more relaxed. We are really focusing on the cleanness of our plays. No horrible mistakes, no over-aggression. Let's see what that leads to, because right now, it seems like for the team Time Chasers, it is a little bit of a experiment. Time for a bunch of experiments. And really, perhaps they need to stop the experiment because shots keep coming in, but why not Party? 2 saves in a row. Make sure that the post-game strong do not get an opener in this game.
I was already celebrating. I had my hands up in the air being like, yes, they've scored! But no, again, this save on the side of Time Chaser makes it. And then why not Party's like, let me just beat these 2 guys in the air. And Memphify will score. And we'll still get the 1-0 lead. They're gonna be the villains of this league.
I love your evil laugh. which is a little bit posh as well. Oh. One way or the other. Oh, Why Not Party fakes it out, and that ball drops. Oh, but man, when you just outplay 2 players and then just outwit the third one as well, it's not looking good. Flip, reset, fail, goal still achieved.
Yeah, there's still 2 goals in again. They've kick-started it now. They started out slowly, but I think they're gonna pick it up again and try to get all these goals going. The aggression is back on. The touches are here left and right, and now it's up to post-game strong. Like, how many are we gonna let in?
I'd say how many we can. How many we can score still, because this is a chance. This is still a chance for them to score that opener. Because right now, in both series we've seen so far, this has been domination, or at least the goal-scoring control of one of the teams. I would like to see that broken. While against Time Chaser, that might be hard. I spoke too soon. There we go. I don't see your hands in the air, Face. What is that? Where's the celebration?
I thought that was not gonna be a goal because I thought someone's gonna be back.
Oh,
but this
non-believers.
time they weren't fast enough. And yeah, I didn't see that one coming. I was really happy to see that other one because that was the goal that was gonna like get the 1-0 lead even. But now it's 2-1, so they're trying to catch up. They've played more offensively, but I still don't see them beat the other team, beat the Time Chasers. But who knows? Maybe we'll get game 4. Maybe we won't.
Ooh, nice save as well. Arceus dropping down because that was on target and nobody on the ground was able to save it. But he drops down, makes a brilliant save, and now, well, that touch could have been a tad better. Sets up, just setups, not the sets up. Minfibai and the rest of the Time Chasers trying to move on through. Those little touches, by this point, post-game strong need to expect that every single time there's someone from Time Chasers dribbling, that they will get that ball. That one miss by one at party when they're trying to do a flip reset does not count. You just need to expect it, all of it. Another save comes in. Dipsy removes the ball, maybe counterattack as well, pass to the midfield line. And this is something we haven't seen from post-game strong just yet, but what I really want to see is those passing plays. In previous season, they were, some at the very least, were brilliant, and I want to see more of that. I was hoping to see whether they worked on that during the off-season. But when you are constantly peppered by the shots, when you are barely leaving your own half, making a good passing play is the last thing on your mind. I spoke too soon. Set up on the backboard, demolition of the goalie, but Why Not Party? Oh, if only Dipsy could get that touch. Could have redirected that ball away from the last sitting goalie, Why Not Party.
That was such a good play from post-game strong. A good passing play into the demo on the goalie. That should have been a goal. At least they deserved it. But then a quick counter-attack. And there's the 3-1. And now the Time Chasers are walking away a little bit with a 2-goal lead and 48 seconds on the clock. Post-game strong are looking good. But is it good enough?
Maybe not yet. Maybe with the goals like that coming in through. It's not just a simple play. You put the player on the flank, but just on a simple rotation. You can just basically take this and look how rotations differ, how much more quicker Time Chasers get to the ball in their opposition. And as a result, well, just you could see how exactly Time Chasers are able to win with such commanding score lines. And while this has not been a total and utter demolition, it does feel to me like the Time Chasers have sort of kept their speed a little bit lower. Still, it does seem like now they've turned on the speed, but they've increased the precision. This one, just look at this. Beautiful. Didn't have to do anything. He didn't even boost for it more than he needed. Minfibai just used exactly as much as he needed to get into the position to just exactly touch it to get it into the net. That is professional, folks, right there.
And he knew nobody was gonna rush that ball. He knew he was gonna be first, so he just puts it in without like over rushing it or doing anything odd about it. Just a touch is more than enough, but a touch won't be enough for post-game strong. With just 10 seconds on the clock, 4 goals is a dream that's never gonna come true, and it will mean that they will lose their first series. But to be honest, you're losing against the Time Chasers. Everybody's gonna lose against the Time Chasers.
See, even FaZe now knows that everyone's gonna lose against the Time Chasers. It's how it goes. It's the unfortunate, as far as the way how this league might be going. Again, this is a great week for, if not for the post-game strong, then for the next opposition. Of course, it will be Team Black Diamond later on in the day to shock Time Chasers. So hey, do not knock it off until you tried. But this has been a different game 3, that's for sure. But Time Chasers, I'd say, still shown us that, man, they are the team to be feared. And Memphipi and Why Not Party and Trex as well, someone who folks haven't seen as much, should be feared, respected, but I'd say even for Goliath, there must be at least one David in this league.
There might be, like, we've seen a little bit of weakness on their side, but not that much. So there's maybe a team that can take them at least to game number 4, instead of like just going 3 games and out. Someone's got to take that at least at one game of that. I'm looking forward to the day that they will fall.
Well, that was their goal, really. For the whole league, their goal was not to lose a single game. And I don't know what their plan B is if they finally lose a single game.
Win every single game or forfeit. I want to see it.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. One way or the other, we'll be back with more talk about this game, what we just saw on the screens, after these messages. Again, don't go anywhere. There's plenty more Rocket League because we were indeed really having a ton more action. 2 more games remaining. Of course, it will be Imperial versus Mind Games eSports, and Time Chasers will be back in their matchup against Team Black Diamond. So, hey, if you wanted more Rocket League is definitely coming your way. See you after a break.
Mieleisesti pelaajant ylivoimaa täysin pidemmän labaksi no Tallinin signature Britney Flavia Williams samaan Otuhop ja nostaksot monta lava ja viņš atgādināt vēlēt šogad.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you and other name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris, kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Folks, welcome back. We just witnessed something. I'd say it's the Time Chasers immediately proving why they were saying nobody is scaring them in this league. Why they are so confident in themselves. It's because they can play like that. Yes, they are playing against Postgame Strong, and while I respect that team immensely, and I really want to see them go to the bigger heights, I think that has been, well, still shows that the top team of the league and the bottom team of the league, we would love for them to be much closer than it is, but sometimes it's a big difference. I'm Jam, he is Face. Let's break down that game as much as we can, because definitely was a lot of goals. Goals were just coming in non-stop. 20 in the first two games. Was it a 4-1 for the last game, I do believe? Which is,
I think 5-1 maybe.
Oh man, it just proves that the goal scoring machines are tuned. It's just going beautifully.
Yeah, for sure. They found their swing pretty early on, but they got scored upon once, so I'm gonna say, who knows? There are some things that still can be worked out, but Time Chase is by far the favorites. But I just want to still say, post-game Strong didn't look weak. I think they're maybe on the same level at least as Bad Guys, and maybe even can compete with the Backflip Boys. But it's hard to say after such a game, because Time Chasers are such on another level that you can't really gauge how good they will be.
Well, they still have really big tests coming in later on. It's this one again. This is the first game. They will have a second one later on. I'd say that will be a much closer one versus the Black Diamond. That seems to be really something that will test their mettle. But we just know how much power in this team in every single player, and how well they're playing together. I think it was showing immediately. We had some problems with the bad dudes not really being able to move the ball within themselves. We saw the post game Strong, despite maybe trying to go for it, they were really sometimes on the same page, but they were that was not being seen behind the display that we saw from the Time Chasers. So against. And by that mean obviously Time Chasers, their own passing playstyle, their own teamwork was shining that much better. So I'd say there's still much more to come in terms of, well, let's just say, improvement, I suppose. And of course we haven't seen all the teams. How about we actually anything else, Face, you want to mention about that game? Something, for example, maybe some wishes for post-game Strong, something maybe they can take to the bank and use in their next series.
Well, I wish them all the luck in the next games, and I hope they will never face Time Chasers again.
Thankfully, they only play their opposition once, so yes, that's what their first and last series against Time Chasers, unless they go to LAN and potentially fight Time Chasers over there. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's time to move on to our game number 3, and it should be Imperial versus Mind Games Esports. And indeed, it is right here on your screens. Of course, for Imperials, Ragis and Dubi, two Lithuanian players, coupled with Tagmata, which was a complete surprise for me. I sort of heard somewhere that Tagmata might be playing, and bam, he's here. He's a friend of ours. He has been in the UK scene for a really long time. He's actually going, if he hasn't gone yet, to Las Vegas, because he won a tournament in UK.
Wow.
Players of which then are moving on to play in US in Las Vegas. So big congratulations to them on that front. And seeing him here in this league, I know that he will bring quality. And Ragis, of course, previously also participating in the league. He was playing for Scavenge Esports, but now with his another Lithuanian brethren, Dubi. I'd say this team, together with Team Black Diamond and Blackfoot Boys, they're the 3 teams that perhaps should be fighting for that top 4, top 3 spots come the end of the season.
Quick note, Jar, I'm hearing something from production. You might want to take a look at that real quick, and I'll talk a little bit about the other team, Mind Game Esports. On that side, we have MacGyver, Flick in this tournament. There's another one who is a sub, but I've played with Timotheus quite a lot. I've met him a few times too, because we live in the same city.
Hey.
And we got in there We've met each other a few times. We've played a few tournaments with each other, so like the European College League, and he's quite a good player. When he has his day, he will score every single ball you'll give to him. But it depends. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm really looking forward to see my football.
Well, as he is actually not the only Dutch player in the league, we do have more folks. It isn't like a main player, but AMDZ is a sub, or AMZD is a sub for Team Black Diamond. Potentially, Primey and Keon Frosty at some point would like to use him as one of the players. But it's a very international affair. Just like in many of those international leagues, for example, it is the Rocket Baguette Rising Stars come to mind. It is one of those leagues that allows two of the players from Baltic States to play, so Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and then a third player can be from any country. That's why we have Trex from Norway, we have Frosty from Slovenia, we have Tigmata from UK, and Timotheus, who we just mentioned. Of course, he's your fellow Dutchie. And as you're saying, he might indeed be get some improvement for that team, help Mind Games Esports, because last season, unfortunately for Mind Games Esports, it wasn't the best showing. They finished last in the previous season, so really from the very bottom of the scoreboard, up is the only way.
Yeah, it sure is, and I also think that Timotheus is an upgrade over Pumpkin Digger. I've played with Pumpkin Digger a bit too, but I've always preferred him, Timotheus over him. And I've played a few games with him. I think like it was 2 days ago. He mentioned like my face. We have to play. I have to practice. I have to play a tournament. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So he's been on the up and up, trying to get everything rolling again. And let's see if MacGyver and Fleek and Timotheus can pick this up, because this is gonna be a really important match for them, because it's gonna be the first one, and you really want to start out with that 1-0, both for Imperial and Mind Games Esports. If you get this game, you'll have a mental edge in the second.
I'd say this is a team that both teams can be thinking, hey, maybe we really take it. I'd say the favorite for this one should be Imperial. As I mentioned, they might be one of those teams fighting for a land spot. But Mind Games Esports, they will not give up without a fight. They're eager. They've qualified yet again, so this shows that they are interested in continuing on playing. Mind Games Esports as a whole, of course, is the European tournament organizer right now. They're a little bit dormant, but ages ago, when I just started casting, they were there on the scene. I think one of the first casts that I did was with them as well, so I've known these folks for a long time. A couple of managers from Mind Games Esports, the organization, are actually from Latvia. Pat Birds, hello. So they're all familiar folks. They have been around this scene. They have been around the European scene, and as a result, they just are continuing to participate in something like this, and I'm just happy to see them here. So let's see what they can show up. So MacGyver, Flyke, both Latvian players, and as we mentioned, Timotheus from Netherlands. It's I wonder really. I'm trying to figure out. I think it's Gustus and Pumpkin Digger indeed last season who were trying to really carry their teammate MacGyver, and this season maybe Flake and Timotheus will be able to do the same. Flake playing as a sub for Mind Games Esports last season, and now he's stepping up into the big role, and I think as a result he will be able to really prove themselves why he perhaps should have been picked last season instead of being put into the sub position.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can crown this match like this, but I'm gonna do it at least. We'll see if it works out of that. I want to call this the Battle of the Imports. We have Tagmata, an English player on the one side, and we have my boy Timotheus on the other side. And which import is gonna come out on top? Is it gonna be the Dutch import or is it gonna be the English import? They're both really good countries in the Rocket League scene. And we'll see which can come out on top. But Imperial, I haven't seen that much of them yet, but I'm looking really forward to them. Like, you said that they played previous time too, right?
The Mind Games Esports did. The only one player on the side of Imperial was playing Ragus, was previously of this Scam Esports. The rest of the folks are inexperienced here, but still, they have been together for a while. Obviously, Tagmata has a lot of experience in various tournaments. I'd say he is that difference maker. I'm actually on the side of Tagmata for this one. You can take your Dutch fellow. I'll take Tagmata because hey, that man can play.
Yeah, but okay, if you're gonna hype up your guy, I'm gonna hype up my boy. Well, Timotheus, I don't know if you remember, you casted us in a tournament once too. Kinda lost, but that doesn't matter. And we played against, what was it, Tylacto and a few other guys in the College Cup. And we did okay-ish, but Timotheus, like, if he gets the space that he needs, his aerial game, his shots are quite amazing. Maybe his defense isn't that strong as maybe on the side of Tagmata. But hey, it's gonna be, in my opinion, the battle of the imports. And it's going to be Imperial versus Mind Game eSports. And I mentioned earlier, you want to start this week with a win. It's going to give you such a mental boost, because if you win that first game and you're like, our goal is to reach that top 4 and go to LAN, you're going to practice your ass off because you want to win it. Because you want to go to that LAN, you want to have fun at HyperTown, and everything you told earlier in the stream, man, I was like, I want to go too, but I don't think I can book a ticket to the Baltic area with my student bike.
I mean, hey, it's just one weekend, man. It's just one weekend. From all of us here in the Baltic states, we are extending this invitation to you. Chances are we won't be able to. Wait, maybe. Anyway, if you're interested, let us know. We'll have you here. You'll show some of us.
What were the dates again?
It is. I'm glad you've asked. It will be the weekend of November 23rd. So November 33rd. It will be a 2-day affair. So it's a lot of time. 23rd and 24th of November. That's Saturday and Sunday. And not only Rocket League will be there, of course. CSGO will be there. Of course, the Guns of Boom. That prize pool still blows my mind. $170,000. $170,000. Indeed, yeah. Just saying that number and then putting it into this is going to be one country over in Tallinn, somewhere I've been, somewhere I would love to be again. Oof, that is just makes me proud to be Baltic. Maybe not Estonian. I'm not from there, but hey, it's so great that big tournaments are coming in there, and I know the team behind it is also absolutely fantastic. The production, casters that I believe will be most likely imported, but just as a result, if you can go, I really heartily recommend you to go, because here in Riga, when the HyperTown happened here, it was a tremendous affair. They were obviously cosplay. There were a lot of booths with games you could play, things you can try. But enough of that, I say, Face. How about we get some action with Imperial and Mind Games eSport? The teams are finally ready to play, so I'd say let them play. Any second now. Who do you have as your favorite?
Well, let's be honest. Everybody knows what I'm gonna say. And my favorite is, of course, Mind Game eSports, especially Timotheus. I want to see how he's gonna do, how he's gonna fare. He has been out a bit for quite a while, but practiced a lot the last week. So let's see if that practice has paid off and he can help his team to their first victory.
Well, it starts pretty evenly. There we have Tagmata, not going against Timotheus just yet, but still showing that he can and will go into the air. Passes? I'd say Timotheus was looking exactly for that one, trying to bring the ball over to his teammate up the field. But defense so far is solid, folks, in right positions. I see MacGyver on the far post trying for a rotation, covering for his teammate in case something goes wrong. Tagmata, that man, my favorite pick out of these two, out of the import wars, seemingly is ready for every single clear that Mind Games eSports throw against him.
When you say import wars, I'm like, oh no, Discovery Channel, import wars today. You see a huge container like on a ship.
Exactly.
And then you see like a player coming out of it. Oh, I've got it totally up in my mind. But here's maybe a good chance. MacGyver to the middle, but there Doobie does bring it to the side.
Production team for HyperTown? Take notes. Take notes, because we can have exactly that. 2 teams at finals coming in out of big containers. You can even repurpose something like that from the Guns of Boom. I'm pretty sure they have some good props. Timotheus keeps the ball to himself, if not for a long time, at the very least he had some direction behind it, some intention. Couldn't bring it through. Not exactly that much of pressure from Imperial. They are bringing the ball in, but it doesn't seem like they're all ready to just gang up, pile on their opposition, which really allows Mind Games eSports to not sweat that much in the defense. At least that's the impression I'm getting.
Yeah, but it's a high-paced game for a few players. They're rotating up and down every single time. they don't have that much time to get boost because they have to be in position like every second, it feels like. And it's just a lot of tension right now between the teams trying to figure out their spot on the field. What is good, what isn't, are we going to clear, are we going to dribble? And when they find out what works for them, then we'll see a lot more action.
It's, once again, it's the game number 1, but it's one of the quieter game number 1s we've seen so far. And the Jinx almost came in through as well. Maguire, fireful clear. If only that wasn't a target. Ragis was not in position. He already saw 2 of the players of Imperial out of contention. And shots are just keep coming in. That's Timotheus with an attempt. A miss on the wall. Tegmata is not able to get it either. Oh, I don't think Flake actually had to abandon that ball. He was in the prime position to get something in. Now he'll be defending against, was that Doobie? I think that was Doobie coming in hard for the backboard. Bringing the ball in through. And now it returns to the blue side. Back pass by Tegmata actually almost works out. And with Mind Games eSports not being too aggressive, I'd say that gives Imperial a lot of space on the field.
But these shots, guys, put them on the net. Tegmata got a great pass towards him, but he just shoots it far side towards the post instead of at the net. That could have been the 1-0 lead, but it doesn't work out yet. Teams are maybe not that great in defense, but the offense of both teams is a little bit weak too.
Well, it's only a first game, and hey, it only takes one. Right now with this scoreless game, it only takes one to bring on through. And then the game will open up because the team that's now behind will have to play much more aggressively. The team that is in the lead will both try to... Well, it's a question for them what they're going to do. Are they going to play defensively from that point on, or are they going to try and increase their lead? Right now, Timotheus, stopped by Ragis in the air. Didn't get the ball, but did get the players. No continuation in the backboard play. Dooley bringing it out for Imperial squad. They are still looking for their first one, just like their opposition. Tegmata, right now you see him with the ball a lot. He is putting the ball in, getting to the ball first, putting the ball in positions where the opposition can't reach it. But so far, I don't think it has resulted into anything incredibly dangerous for his team to capitalize on.
No, the ball is in the midfield like 9 out of 10 plays. There's gonna get like some shots, but not towards the net. It's most of the time backboard, sideboard, or high up. And there's never a shot that really sticks out there. You're like, whoa, that was a great save. Because they're just trying to bait out everybody. But if you keep baiting and baiting, you're never gonna get a shot. This might be an opportunity, but this time the save is there.
This was getting closer and closer. Perhaps I would agree with the idea of, oh, first though, Flake. Single-handed effort. Timotheus did sort of set him up with the pass, but Tegmata peels off. Duvey tries to shadow, tries to follow, and can't keep up. Flake, I don't think in that sequence hit the brakes a single time.
No, that was a little bit of an awkward defense, but Mind Game eSports will be very happy about it. But can they keep the lead for 10 seconds? Tegmata dropping it down in front of the goal. Timotheus to the side, gets the second block, gets the third block. And this should make sure, if this ball touched the ground, Mind Game eSports take the first game. It's still up in the air. There's a shot towards the net. It's over. But can they get the rebound? No. Flake gets it to the side. Timotheus wants to drop it. He does. And that's a 1-0 lead for Mind Game eSports.
Well, perhaps not the exact result I expected in the first game. My heart was with Imperial, but whew, all right, that's a twist. That's a twist that has been put there. If you are constantly baiting, as you said, Face, and it's not working, and you see that clearly was not working, eventually your opposition just gets the better of you, and I'd say that's exactly what happened. They just couldn't really get that decisive play, and as a result, since the game was still so open, Mind Games eSports just said, we'll take this one because it's hey, if you're not scoring, we're gonna score.
But oh, Jar, I was sweating it. In those last 10 seconds, Timotheus got 3 blocks in a row. I thought at least the third one it would be over, and it would be at least a 1-1, and we'll see overtime, which also would have been amazing. I love overtimes. But Timotheus got the blocks, and Flake with the goal that he got like past 3 players. Mind Games took this first game, but to be honest, I think it could have gone either way.
Yeah, well, knowing just for how long this game has stayed at a 0-0, it just proves that this was incredibly close, and most likely will continue to be incredibly close, just off the fact that teams nobody wants to take initiative. And really, it feels like the first team that will finally take the run of the game into their own hands should be able to then run away with the series as a whole.
It's really important to get that first goal because both teams need that momentum. Who's gonna find this in game 2? Is it gonna be Mind Game eSports again, or will Imperials come back in this series?
I'd say I still have a lot of trust in Imperial. They got 10 shots in the previous game. They really tested out the defense of Mind Games eSports. So as a result, they were not as brave in the first game, and not as perhaps proactive, and perhaps a couple of times the luck betrayed them. But they're still a strong squad in my book. They're still the favorites, even despite dropping one game. It's definitely not over for them. And with Mind Games not showing it, like full-on domination, just they took one game. They can still take 2 more games in the same fashion, but that is highly unlikely.
This has also been a lot of offense on the side of Imperial. It's hard for Mind Games to get out. Ball's consistently getting centered and put towards the net. This time it's still there. Doovie wasn't ready. That could have been the 1-0, but Mind Game eSports escape yet again.
And Mind Games immediately go on the counterattack themselves. First Timotheus, now Flake. Past the midfield line. MacGyver was waiting there since yesterday. That's off the crossbar and out. A dangerous battle in defense of Imperial. They saw how the play was unfolding and they couldn't stop it. That was an obvious setup, at least from where I'm sitting, and I'm sitting in a pretty cushy position. But that is a play that almost was a goal, should have been a goal, I'd even say, and Imperial next time should be aware. Now they score something of their own accord. Ragus find themselves an opportunity since, again, another series of sort of misses, weak plays, and nobody in the net for Mind Games eSports.
MacGyver tried to clear it, but he didn't get the touch to get it far enough that Tagmata couldn't touch it. But Tagmata gets the touch, centers it, and that's a 1-0 lead for Imperials. Can they keep it up though? It's been very close on the other side too. So this game is gonna be close, and I hope we're gonna see a lot of it.
Well, so far it's keeping to that close matter. Flake plays the ball forward, still with the ball. A Stigmata touch is not enough to bring the ball out of their own half. Doovie though, on clearing duty, resets the whole play and allows the team to start again. Open net, but you can see that the Imperial was ready, sort of perhaps saying, hey, look at that, open net, just get an easy shot on it. You'll take it. And seemingly Mind Games just saw, yeah, there's a shot, we'll take it. Just giving the ball back to their opposition. Flake will be trying to play with that ball. Uses a lot of boost, actually opens up the net. Doovie for a second, not sure where the play is going to continue from this point on. As MacGyver and the rest of the Imperials now are trying to do something with the ball, faking each other out. Well, that's a new one. No goals scored on this attack, but Mind Games eSports for a long period of time were just not allowing Imperial to move out.
Yeah, they still are in defense for, I feel like, almost an eternity right now. And then eventually MacGyver still finds the goal. After I think it was an offensive play for maybe a minute or something. The pass goes to the middle from Timotheus and MacGyver was still waiting there. Tagmata was a little bit too slow on the move out to contest that ball. And we're tied up again.
I would like to bring you back to about 60 seconds in the past, where MacGyver was in the same position. He got himself a shot off, and that rattled the crossbar, but that was the perfect shot. And now Mind Games just returned back. They found themselves in the same position, and Imperial still can't do anything. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If Mind Games are able to set up these passes more often, that's a miss, and that's unfortunately all that hard work undone. But if they're able to set up these passes again, Imperial can't do anything about it. I'm feeling scared for the defense of Imperial. Their offense, though, is pretty solid indeed, especially when Mind Games eSports allowing them to have that much space in front of them.
Yeah, Flake shouldn't have missed that one. That's a feels bad, man. He should have just waited maybe a little bit longer. He had the time, but he didn't. He flipped alongside the ball. And now it's 2-1 again for Imperials. And there he free flipped into the ball, couldn't calculate which way he should go, so he panicked a little bit. And if you flip early, you're gonna miss that 50-50.
Oh, poor Flake. Yeah, he still was in the right position to then stop a follow-up, but that was a brilliant play. That continuation on the ball, just staying with the ball, positioning your car in just the right way so that the ball continues going into the net, that is a good skill to have. And Ragus has just shown us just that. 2 goals for him in this game. And Imperial, I'd say they're getting back. I'd say these are great opportunities that they're using. Some of them, it's mind games that are giving those opportunities. But hey, if your opposition is giving you chances at net, you better use it.
Yeah, you should do. Here's maybe another one. Ragus tries to get it middle, but didn't work out this time. Now Mind Games eSport to Flake. Flake with the shot, not enough power on it, but it was dangerous. Looks like Mind Games are trying to get back and Flake trying to make up for his previous mistakes. Here's another chance. MacGyver dropping it to the net, but the save of Tagmata. Mind Games eSport is trying to find that second goal, but the defense
MacGyver
is still holding up.
Oh, Timotheus, I think that was a Doomsday Dish style approach, but MacGyver, again, he was the player sitting in midfield line. That is, I'd say that's a great strategy to have, because more often than not, he is in an open position, in the position that can net him the goals. In Mind Games eSports, that's the plan. Oh, MacGyver flips out a little bit too soon. If only he would stay that, he could have blocked one of the players of Imperial from making a stop on that ball, because all of a sudden, a gap, everyone is behind that shot, or already past that shot. Close opportunity for Mind Games eSports, and they're still not stopping. The ball is in their half. I'd stay there, still be trying to bring that ball back in the blue half. 5 seconds. It might not happen in this game, but Mind Games eSports, despite conceding 3 goals, I'd say that they've, by the end of this game, they've put that much pressure on on their opposition Imperial, that I wouldn't be surprised if, given more time, that the Mind Games eSports will be able to claw their way back in.
Yeah, just like the previous game, I think this still could have gone either way. A few mistakes on the side of the defense from Mind Games, and then a few good wins on the side of the Imperial defense, keeping some amazing shots out. I think it can go either way with these two teams. It's a beautiful series to watch. Both teams are trying their hardest to make sure that they get those goals. Sometimes neglecting a little bit of defense, but those passing plays from Mind Games are really dangerous, while Imperial are looking for that counter. That one mistake in defense, and they will immediately capitalize.
Oh, it was looking exactly like that. As hey, we'll just go straight into the game. Why not? Everyone is eager to continue. This is game 3 of the best of 3s, and as a result,
best of 5.
A best of 5, yes. Game 3 of the best of 5s. Got too many 3s on my mind face. And this has really livened up a lot. I'd say MacGyver and the squad have a great idea. I'm loving the stuff that Mind Games eSports are doing in the attack. They have players ready in the position. Their aerial play, you saw that at the end of the previous game, was, I'd say, really up to par, something that will really shock Imperial. But their mistakes in the defense is currently, I feel like, what's keeping them down the most.
It sure has been, but it's a new game. It's a new, fresh slate. The one who gets 3 games win the first will take it there. And we're in a 1-1 scoreline, so it still can go either way. These teams are neck and neck and are facing each other along the way. But here, Duvi opens it up pretty quick.
Look at that slow play. First of all, he very slowly approached the ball. Then, it wasn't even a dribble. He saw Timotheus in an awkward position on the wall, and that angle on his car just allowed Duvi to push the ball on through. Wow. Imperial just used the physics in their favor, and that's a 1-0 for them.
A quick start, the quickest one we have seen in this series yet. Both teams scored pretty late in the previous games, but this time Imperials don't wait a single minute. They score pretty quickly. They want to try to get the second goal too, but this time Mind Game has the ball possession. What will Timotheus do? He gets it past the first one, but the pinch didn't reach MacGyver, and nothing came out of that attack.
Yeah, but it was looking oh so promising. I saw MacGyver over there and thought, man, if only he had the boost, he could have gotten to it. You could also say that this game has definitely slowed down. Both teams are all of a sudden making a much more tactical and positional approach rather than really just to rush into the attack. Really, I see so many players just slowing down and opting for a slow dribble rather than a quick touch on the ball to put it somewhere. It does speed up just momentarily, and that's exactly how Tagmata scores out of the passive dude.
A really good backboard there by Duvi. MacGyver and Fleek both rotating to the second post, so nobody was ready for a backboard pass. Good overall game presence. there for that pass, and then Tagmata just finishes it off, and now a 2-0 lead for Imperials. They want to take this important game 3 and get that match. What?
That's the
Hello,
best reaction.
physics?
How do they work? Flake, I always love these touches. Oh. Fadeaway touches, and Flake supposedly got the touch in the right place, the right time, and then set it right in the waiting hands of Imperial players who just did a little bit of a clap on it. Alright, well, Mind Games eSports will take this and will continue out their attack. Whatever goal works for them, I'm pretty sure Flake might be able to find someone in midfield. Or just a tap to high in Timotheus, that's not an angle for him to take. Back into the defense, back from the start. And maybe a good clear can finally do something for Mind Games eSports. They need more chances. Because that 1-goal lead is nothing. It can be beat. It definitely can be beat. So now, as they're setting up yet another play, we'll see more players setting up. There's, Timotheus was coming in through, but Duvi read the play well. Knew exactly where the ball is going to go and nipped it in the bud. And as the ball returns back to the side of Mind Games eSports, Imperial have survived a couple of good attempts by Mind Games eSports.
We've seen a few attempts from Imperials going towards the backboard, and those have been the most dangerous one. Nobody on the side of Mind Games is waiting for a backboard pass or shot or whatever. So they're just waiting in the net, and every time the ball is high up, it looks very dangerous. But here Timotheus, does he get it? No, Tagmata saves.
Holy moly, that Tagmata, I didn't expect him to be there, be that close to the ball, but in the midfield line, he reacted so quickly, so brilliantly. A fake by Flake. It rhymes, but he doesn't get the ball on target. He was that close to scoring, and there goes MacGyver. Small misplace, and as everyone's trying to get to the ball, Tagmata safely in the net, just observing the chaos from a distance and making sure that nothing sneaks past him.
Chances aren't done yet on the side of Mind Game eSports. They have the pressure and they mounting it. Flakey tries to get it in, but the ball hasn't crossed the half line. This is the first time I think in 30 seconds it has done. Now there's some room to breathe for the Imperials. They can get boost, they can get position, and might even set up their own attack.
Yeah, they'd be looking for a third goal, something to really set their leads, somewhere where Mind Games eSports won't be able to immediately spoil it. Look at that pressure just do the end. All of a sudden, Imperial find themselves all in front of the net of Mind Games eSports. The ball shot up a tad too high for them to continue the play, but this showed that Mind Games eSports were out of position. They were beat by 2 challenges, and all of a sudden there's no one there. Those 50-50s are working for Imperial, and next time this happens, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a goal from Imperial just because Mind Games eSports have used everyone and couldn't bring the ball out.
Oh, and here again, ooh, I don't know who it was, but on the top of the net there was a poor touch. I believe it was MacGyver. Yes, he was a little bit too late with his flip and drops the ball in front of his own net. And now it's a 3-1 lead for Imperials. It's gonna be hard for Mind Game eSports to combat, but they can. They have had the chances. They only have to finish them. But Imperials is not gonna let them do that easily. They're gonna try to expand their lead, and they're playing more aggressive than ever.
Well, right now, I'm looking for that aggression to start. Mind Games eSports, those tiny mistakes again seemingly being the bane of the team. And right now, those tiny mistakes add up. They add up to goals. And with the pressure that Imperial is currently showing, look at that. Another opportunity. Timotheus has to just throw himself in front of the ball to make sure that doesn't go into the net. Imperial finally sort of weakened their hold. A clear comes in, but is there anyone at the end of that clear? No, Mind Games eSports are not that far out. That gets immediately returned back, and then nobody from Mind Games eSports are ready for that clear back. And as a result, they give the ball to their opposition and allow Imperial to just set up, restock, set up in the right position, and continue the pressure. As the timer runs out, yes, this is a 3-1, and I'd say Imperial have won it fair and square, just like in the previous game. This is shaping up to be rather as a game where Imperial just put a solid pressure in their opposition, and those tiny mistakes by Mind Games eSports in the end were just too much. They couldn't overcome the losses they've in the end succumbed. 3-2, that's a buzzer beater, doesn't count for 2 goals, I'm afraid. And even with the beautiful goal by Timotheus, this still will be a victory to Imperial.
Yes, and that was, my opinion, too, a deserved victory for Imperials. They played better, they had more pressure, and they were more aggressive and had more ball control. This time, on the side of Mind Game Esports, it didn't go that well for them. It just didn't work. Like in Game 1, maybe they were a little bit lucky. Maybe they caught Imperials off with surprise. But right now, it looks like Imperials are the better team.
It is. It is just seen plainly on the field. Mind Games Esports got themselves their opportunities. I'd say that was some proper Rocket League. That the play style which mostly does not allow their opposition to make moves, to get anything done. So many times you saw someone from Imperial throwing themselves straight in front of Mind Games players just not to make them let a touch. And those 50-50s, even if they didn't go in favor of Imperial, I'd say they were always, at the very least, stopping Mind Games Esports from proceeding further. And then it was just a matter of waiting it out. Imperial had always had some forces on the midfield line, and when the opportunity presented itself, then you saw exactly what Imperial could do.
And I usually think in a best of 5 that game number 3 is the most important game. It's because, or you win like 3-0, or the other one is when you're 1-1 tied up, game number 3 is so important because this means that Imperials are on their match point. They only have to win one more game and they will take this series. Whichever team that wins in game number 3, in my opinion, is way more favored to take the 4th or 5th game than the team that, of course, lost.
Let's as well mention the fact that Imperial have won 2 of the previous games, and as a result, they're currently on the roll. And snowballs, quite often, are pretty hard to stop, even for some of the stronger teams playing in RLRS and RLCS. It is sometimes it just you can't break it down. You know that your opposition has basically your number, and as a result, every single game they will be pushing them through. If Mind Games Esports can break this down, hats off to them. It will show that they've grown as a team and that the current roster is playing as well as they possibly can. The attack is continuing. Look at that. They've only had more players. Nobody from Imperial can get to the ball quickly. But since Mind Games Esports have abandoned that attack, unfortunately they can't continue. They still retrieve the ball, and Das's bounces in and out. Nordics was this close to scoring the opener in game number 4.
Already the first minute in, and there's a lot of pressure on Mind Games Esports, but it doesn't pay off. They are too aggressive with having multiple chances. They double commit on the same ball. Rackets beats MacGyver, and then Tagmata finishes it off. And Imperials take the lead again, even though there was quite an offense from Mind Games.
Sometimes you can do anything you want. Like almost everything, you throw everything at your opposition. It just doesn't work, and this might be exactly one of those cases. Well, it's still time. It's still only 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, rather. That's 1 minute, and bam! There's your tying goal. Just quick attacks, quick shots, and that initial clear, I'd say that also worked pretty well. And Flake, this great position for him, and also great reaction. You could see just how much faster he was away from Raggers, just because I think the only idea in Flake's mind was, I'm gonna go for that ball, damn it, be all.
And also, communication between team members is so important right there, because okay, I'll get into that later. MacGyver, wrong goal. Like, it's a hard one to save. It wasn't clear by Duvey, but he had way more time than he took. Puts it in his own net, and he's the 1-1 that they just have got now. 2-1, it's gonna be hard to get that back.
I mean, you are being pretty pessimistic for just how much time is still remaining. I've mentioned that we've played 1 minute and 20. Now we've played 1 minute and 40, so it's only a difference of 20 seconds. And if difference of 20 seconds nets you a goal, hey, it's still possible.
Yeah, it's true, but the mental impact of getting that equalizer and then immediately getting an own goal, that's gonna leave a big dent in their mental attitude, and it's gonna make it way harder to get back into this.
Well, Mind Games prove ourselves wrong as setup is coming through. This time MacGyver is not more faster than Ragus. Ragus had his eyes on the ball, brought the ball out. But they're out of boost, are forced to move out. Timotheus and Flake slightly crossing their lines. Flake and quickly, what a brilliant play. that side flip, that's basically side shuffle. I'm not even sure how you can call it, but that was a great approach for the ball, an even better shot.
Yeah, and it almost went in. Hit Timotheus gets past the defender, but no, Flake wasn't in time there. Here's a passing play. Timotheus picks up the ball, drops it middle for one of his team members, but Takmata is first to reach it. And Mind Games Esports are trying with that side shuffle, as you might have called it. That could have been the equalizer again, but this time the defense of Imperials are there to block that amazing shot.
Almost a shame that didn't go in, but more power to the defense of Imperial. They that didn't, I think, exactly fit in the net as well. So posts and crossbars and everything. That hidden fourth player. And Ragus completely misses, and a bunch of players of Imperial in the same spot. They get the ball in through, so that triple command, confusion and rotation doesn't exactly make them pay. Yeah, that's a doink. That's a doink if you ever see one. Flake is really trying hard right now. He had that individual effort in the previous game. Right now, he's just looking for something. And his team is constantly setting him up with a clear that sends him to the other end of the field. MacGyver is no longer that person sitting in front of a net. No, it's now the Flake that is his target person for any attempts by Mind Games to bring the ball out.
But it still didn't go in. Even a chance like that gets saved. Like, Flake didn't have boost for that doink. He just got it on his car. He's pretty happy about it. But if these don't go in, these might do. But Timotheus doesn't get it on the net. That could have been it again. But Mind Games Esports not efficient with their chance.
Oh, that was... The chances are getting better and better, but the goal is still nowhere to be seen. Mind Games Esports, 1 minute remaining, less now. They need that chance. They know that Imperial defense is vulnerable. That bump and that demolition might work out, and since Ragus can quickly go to it, a little bit of physical play apparently was all that Mind Games needed. The odds were already in their favor. They just increased the odds even further than that.
I also want to say Flake is trying to pop off. He's had amazing opportunities, doing great in defense, getting a bump when it's necessary. If it's a time for Flake to step up his play, he's doing it right now. Pass to Timotheus, he drops it in front of the net, but Duvy, again, he's been there in defense multiple times, making crucial saves, and he does it again when there's only 30 seconds remaining.
Good flex for Dewey to bring the ball in through. And Tagmatis again sitting in the midfield line. He's a patient player. He knows where he needs to be, and he knows the moment when he needs to strike. I think right now, if Tagmatis stays in the defense, it will be pretty hard for Mind Games Esports to break it down. Other than that, with 10 seconds remaining and Mind Games Esports on the rise in Imperial, managing to keep them down and grounded as much as possible. This is a tough one. This is the first overtime of the day as well, Face. And I'd say Mind Games Esports have earned it.
And I'm excited. There's been 2 shots from Imperials and 11 from Mind Games Esports. Make that 12. It's overtime. 1 goal takes it. Mind Games Esports want to go to game 5, so they have to win this game. But if Imperials manage to score, they will take this series 3-1.
Ragus steals the ball from Flake because he was going in hard. He saw the weakness. Imperial were not exactly in all the right positions. But if Tigmatic, like a jack in the box, springs out of nowhere and gets a right clear, that might spell trouble. He will be waiting for an opportunity like that. But he doesn't need to act just immediately. He just needs to have the perfect moment. It might not come, but he still try. At the very least, he will be there in the defense, being as solid as ever. Returns back to the side of Imperial. Oh, this could be a mistake. If Flake can get the ball quicker, he reacted just fast enough for his teammate's mistake.
There, Mind Game Esports get lucky a few times. That could have been it. This could also be it, but this time Flake doesn't get the shot. Timotheus does keep up the offense. It's still in the middle, but Duvy, again, crucial in defense. He is always there, getting those saves, getting those clears, and getting Imperials out of a nasty corner.
And they'll need him. They'll need him a lot right now, since Mind Games Esports setting up yet another one. Timotheus was going for that pass, but perhaps a little bit too far away, and Imperial are ready for ball coming their way. Another one. Oh, MacGyver tried to get a flick on it. You could see he was aimed at it with his bumper, and he tried to go a flick. Flick sort of failed. Hey, the ball is still with the Mind Games, and now Timotheus upside down. How about that? On target, just a little bit too high. And nerves, I think, might become a factor here in the Imperial side. There's a double commit, and there's a pass back. Flake, does he have the boost? He needs to move it to the side of the field. Even Ragus can really play it back. Timotheus needs a clear. They all really need a clear. Mind Games Esports are given a clear, and that demolition Flakes open up the defense. Here's Ragus in the net. This one also a little bit too high. Timotheus, a weak shot, and Duvy's there as well. Whew, I'm feeling the heat over here, face, and another one. Oh, there's Stigmata. Duvy's solid in net as well.
How many shots do you need, Mind Game Esports? You're on 15 right now. You only need one goal and just make it happen.
Yes!
Here, yes, Timotheus does it eventually. That was so risky having 3 men on that square meter in front of the net, but they do score it, and we do go to game 5.
Some of the attentive viewers might notice that I just full-on went yes. I have no biases. I have absolutely no biases. I love every single team equally. But man, it's just lovely to see the Mind Games Esport. I would say perhaps a smaller team bringing it to someone like that, so someone like Imperial, and man, was it in a beautiful fashion as well.
That was so close. I was sitting on the edge of my seat for that one. I didn't know what's gonna happen. Was it Mind Games Esport just making sure that Imperials crumble under the pressure, which didn't look like it, or was it Imperials who will get that one counter? I've seen so many touches on the side of Mind Games, like, and then Imperials couldn't finish it off, and Mind Games got back in time, but those counter plays were there. It is scary to play on the side of Mind Games and putting on so much pressure, and then doubting, is my defender going to be there? Is he ready to pick up the next ball? But they do eventually make it. We're going to game 5, and I am so excited.
Wow. Last season, our very opening week had 3 sweeps and won a 3-1 game. This time, well, we are in for a good one. We're in for a long one. It's Imperial and Mind Games Esport for the last time today. Someone needs to win these series. You know what? We talked about momentum. Momentum might have swung in favor of Mind Games Esports.
I'm not 100% sure with that, because even though they did win the last game, it looked pretty scuffed sometimes, so it still can go both ways. I don't know. I hope Flake can keep up what he did last game. He was doing great. And if Timotheus and MacGyver can follow up on his place, they have a good chance, but Imperial still looks solid. They've saved, of the 16 shots, they saved, what was it, 13. So that's just an amazing feat of themselves. And if they can keep up a defense like that, it's gonna be hard for Mind Games.
It was a good defense, and it was a good offense. You mentioned, 15 shots at some point in the overtime. I'm pretty sure after that they got at least a couple more in. So they have everything really to their advantage. And here, a little bit of a fake, perhaps planned, perhaps not, but still Timotheus sets it up on the backboard. Flake with the follow-up. A response from Imperials is coming in. Ragus flip reset. Oh, I'm pretty sure he got it, just didn't have time to execute on it. By the time he got it, he already arrived straight where Mind Games Esports defenders were. How about an attack by Mind Games Esports themselves? A dribble. Oh, Tagmata stops just short enough for that not to go in, but it was aimed perfectly in the bottom right corner. Tagmata, I don't think he has moved from a previous play. He was still there in that very same corner. Makes yet another save and keeps Mind Games Esports at bay.
Flake, that was such a risky play, but it pays off. He gets 3 touches and gets it past the defender. This could be scary though. Flake is there. Ragus wants to pass it out. He tries to, gets it to Duvy, but Timotheus, he gets blocked surprisingly. And this time it's not Mind Games Esports with the pressure. It is Imperials.
Just for a while, and you wouldn't be surprised seeing them attack again. Just the amount of shots they put in previous games shows that they are getting their chances. Stigmata, can he recover? Oh yes, he can recover. I thought if he got in the initial shot, I thought no way the Mind Games Esports are saving it. But with that follow-up, Timotheus was close. Oh, just for a second he second-guessed himself. You see him turning to the left. Well,
yeah, you saw Tagmata having an awkward position, but he still made it work.
It was a speed of recovery, really. The moment you saw him rushing towards there and getting in an awkward position, awkward drop, how quick he can recover. He recovered well enough, and that touch worked just fine for him to get the ball on target. Well, that is strong. I see Ragus right there in the background hunting for any goalies of Mind Games Esports just to remove any attempts. Oh, that's a fake. That almost works out. Duvey does read the play in the end. And we're still trying to keep the ball in. Flake will be rotating short. Straight in the midfield. A pass to him. Shot on target. A little bit too low. If only that was gotten higher. I don't think Duvey would have gotten a touch in it still, most likely. But I don't see him putting it in such a good position for a teammates. Pass in the midfield. There's MacGyver. You could see that the Imperial now much more wiser to these plays.
They sure are, but the offense is still going for Mind Games, but the saves on the sides of Imperials, they are so important. Especially Duvey, he's doing so much defensive work. I've been stuttering about it. I'm just surprised that they're almost saving everything. Tagmata also doing so much stuff in defense, but can they keep it up for 2 more minutes?
Actually, after that, not a full-on interview, but I would be interested to see Tagmata's view on his own play style as 2-0 happens in the blink of an eye, just like that. Snap and 3 great passes. That's the first pass. Completely makes the play move on the other end of the field. Then Ragus just follows it up. Ball comes back to him, 1-2, and the Imperial find their way in behind the defense of Mind Games Esports with incredible pace.
And almost 2 minutes remaining. It's going to be a hard task for Mind Games to score these goals. Flake tries to get it to MacGyver, but a little bit too far. Can he center it again? No, he pinches it out with a defender. Mind Games have to act quickly. Do they want to get back into this? 2 goals is a possibility, but with the defense on the side of Imperials, it's hard to score those.
Well, Duvey and Ragus do give a little bit of a gift to Mind Games Esports. That was on target, but they blocked each other's shots. And as a result, it's still a 2-0. About a minute of the game still remaining. Tagmata on target. And this is now getting worse and worse, I feel. Previously, Mind Games Esports have never allowed their defense to be as open. But you see, at the right side of the screen, 2 of the players have already committed to the play. They've already made their role known in that play, and they're out. And one miss by MacGyver, and bam, all of a sudden, all the Imperials are rushing towards him and putting the ball past him.
Yeah, it's not going well for Mind Game Esports. They're missing certain balls, they're not getting the offensive touches that they want, and with 1 minute remaining on the clock, it's gonna be so hard for them to score. Timotheus is gonna try to center it, but again, Tagmata pinched it out. Is this gonna go in? Yes, it is. It's just working out for Imperials, and I think we know who is gonna win the first episode of Import Wars.
Well, it is my very own boy Tagmata. I'm glad I've picked the box where Tagmata was sitting in. Crates, whatever we have agreed on. Man, that touch, and it could have gone anywhere, but it had to go in the top left corner just to bring a little bit more insult to the injury. Mind Games Esports, you fought well, I'd say, but this 4-0, well, I mean, take a bow. You did well up until this point. Maybe another goal, just to say that we are not going away from this. If Timotheus and Flake can keep their hands away from each other, because that team bump was definitely not helping them.
No, it began so well for them, but it's just crumbling down. Like game 1, they won with like a goal in the last 10 seconds. Game 2, well, it could have gone either way. And then game 3, they couldn't pick that up. But now game 4, they were quite strong, but it looks like their tank is just empty. They've given it their all. They tried their best. And well, in game 5, there wasn't just enough fuel left in the tank to keep on going. And Imperials just rolled over on them.
And Imperials have made sure that they've stopped to refuel somewhere along the lines. Yeah, I'd say stamina is a thing that also comes into play here. These teams do not have to play for the whole day. Right now, obviously, some of the teams are currently trying to get into the RLRS. Obviously, they have a much tougher task on their hands. They are forced to basically go and do a gauntlet. What could possibly be described as. Here now it's only one game, but it's still, you need to leave everything on the field. And while Mind Game's shown that their best is, I'd say, great. Their best parts of the play, some of their setup plays, how they constantly were able to find MacGyver at the very start, or at the end, just that pressure, shows that they really have good parts to their game plan. But there also were those laws which Imperial used to the fullest.
Yeah, they have high highs and they have low lows, and it's amazing to watch because you're gonna get some exciting games, but you want that consistency if you're gonna get that top four. If you want to get there, you have to beat teams like Imperial. So this is a good start for Imperials getting that first series on their board, and they're like, yes, we can get there. This was an important opponent. And while Mind Game Esports is like, well, we almost got there. Maybe next week we'll have a better.
Well, it's up for them to do just that next week. Week number 2 specifically sometimes is that very just we have our expectations coming in week number 1, and then after that we have we change those expectations if they need to be changed, and then we'll see what week 2 brings. But first, we still have one more game to go, folks. So after this ad break, we'll talk more about the matchup between Imperial and Mind Games, as well as go into our final matchup of the day. Team Black Diamond versus Time Chasers will be on your screen in just a moment.
Mielesti spelając Isilviimaa Tsekin pidemmän labaksi nuo Gallinin Signetra Bednet Laveapujan samaan Otrukov ja Notnäkslos Salava Višanskais 77. Ja viņš atgādināt spēlēt šogad.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are still here in BSL week number 1, already done with 3 games, and some of them have been completely utter blowouts. The last one we saw, though, has been quite an interesting affair. Imperial and Mind Games have just finished their series, and well, there had to be one winner, and that was in the end Imperial. I'd say we saw a lot of fantastic action from both of the teams. So, without any further ado, Jar of Jam, that's FaZe. Let's talk about it. Let's see exactly. In your opinion, do you feel like Mind Games eSports in the end could have gotten it with the way that their momentous brilliance was really getting them the games and goals, or was it still Imperial with their higher class that should have been taking it all like they did?
Well, if we look at the last game in like a vacuum and you don't count in the other 4, Imperials were the way better team. I don't know what happened to Mind Games in game number 5, but they just fell apart. Passes were not connecting anymore. Shots weren't that plenty anymore. There were some uncharacteristic misses and like a loss of speed. So I don't know what happened there, if it was mental fatigue or distraction from other ways, or maybe even nerves getting to game number 5, but they were underperforming. So I do think Imperials by far deserve to win that series just because what happened to Mind Games.
Well, it is sometimes it's not just as simple as, hey, you play faster or you have a much better strategy or something of that sort. No, it might be much more just small details, such as you are at some point just dropping attention, just dropping concentration. Just one small mistake, and I keep going on about this one, but I'd say it's a chain of mistakes, and one mistake is okay, 2 mistakes, all right, you need to be really considering that. But when mistakes are coming in, well, perhaps not as frequent as something that we saw today earlier, but when you constantly know that one specific player perhaps might not be getting the touches that he needs, and he's just not working every single time he gets to there, he might want to rethink something, or at least focus on that specific part later on when you practice, knowing that you really, otherwise it costs your team games, and as a result might cost your team the series as well.
Yeah, it certainly did for Mind Games, but I still want to compliment Imperials. Like, their defensive play was really good. Even though, like, game number 4, it was an overtime, and eventually, like, 16 or 17 shot on the side of Mind Games, but only 3 went in. So Imperials did do amazing in defense, and I don't want to take that away from them. But their offensive plays are 9 out of 10 times. It felt like it was just, again, a quick counter after Mind Games was a little bit over-aggressive.
Well, it didn't work out in their favor, but man, so some of these games just still bring back that overtime. That specifically, that overtime, I think, was the highlight of the whole thing. I think you can't possibly pick anything else, because some of these games were slow. Like it started pretty even. We mentioned that the teams had been pretty evenly matched. Then at some points, the teams themselves decided, hey, we're not gonna play this fast. We're gonna slow it down almost to a crawl. We're gonna approach it methodically. Just this, hey, we're gonna position ourselves right. We are not gonna go for fast touches. We're gonna dribble it slowly. We're gonna hold the ball, see what unfolds on the field, and only then we're gonna go for something. But then that overtime came, and non-stop attack. It was something crazy. So, we do have one last game for you on your screens today, and that game will be indeed the Team Black Diamond versus... I almost sounded like a Dota announcer over there. I wish. But it's indeed the Time Chasers, and a little bit of a change in the Time Chasers side. We did have one at party, despite him being a tremendous player, is sitting this game out. Samic, the sub for Time Chasers, is coming in through and play against Team Black Diamond. And just because he's a sub doesn't mean that he is a subpar player. Samic previously was playing for, if my mind serves me right, for Spectre Squad. Indeed, he was. And really, in this league, he could have easily played for any of those teams and be a strong player. But he's currently a sub, which is a very interesting affair. Still bringing him on, so you'll be able to see exactly what he brings to the team. But I'd say that still weakens the Time Chaser side of it.
Yeah, it probably weakens him a bit, but why not party? He's probably out to party, because why not party? So he's probably having a good time, I hope, at least for him. And on the side of Black Diamond, They're probably happy that he's not playing because they think they are going to have a chance. I hope they have a chance. But if we've seen the goals that Time Chasers scored in the previous series, I think Memphipai and Trex could do it on their own, even without something.
All right, well, let's give these teams 5 minutes on the clock. Let's give them a ball in the middle of the field. Let's just say, hey, why not go? Team Black Diamond versus Time Chasers on the screens. And there's a kickoff. Samek immediately goes into the play. His touch is the first touch of the game. And this is the first time we see a Team Black Diamond on the screen as well. We haven't even managed the time to talk about them. But I'd say right now, straight off the kickoff, their play style is speaking for itself.
Yeah, they're starting out strong and speedy. I didn't expect to see this in the first couple of seconds. You can just see on the way they move around the field that they know what they are doing. They know where they have to move to, and of playing aggressive. This could be the first goal, but though it's still Time Chasers, and they will still block you if you come too close.
Oof. All right, well, I'd say this will be the much bigger test to how Time Chasers can perform in defense. Heck, even in the midfield, how well they can stop their opposition from moving past. And while these crosses are coming in through, it's perhaps not as confident just yet. They only need to get in the attack. Ooh, that avoids Samek completely. But the setup was there, and even without one at party, I'd say that the Time Chasers would still inhibit that very same team playstyle, where everyone is right in the spot where they need to be, closing in down those passing plays.
I don't think we've seen Time Chasers in so much defense in the whole previous series as in this first game. So it's promising a lot to see if they are going to have a hard time and maybe even lose their first game in the first week. But a goal hasn't been scored yet, so it's still hard to predict.
Oh, there we go. A shot by Memphipai. He tests Frosty's defense. Frosty sits off strong player from Slovenia. Again, one of the non-Baltic players, but he has worked his way through playing for Scam Sports in the previous season, and he's back here, and I'd say he will just continue to prove that he is deserving to be here. Passing plays, set up. Whoa, and Keo. There you have it. First of all, that's the first. Well, that isn't the first goal conceded by Time Chasers, is it? Because Postgame Strong did score one on them. But this is a completely different game. It is right now the Black Diamond bringing it to their opposition. And who knows, maybe that first game lost will be happening right in the very first week.
In the previous series, we said that bad guys just didn't... I think it was the bad guys, they didn't have the speed to keep up with the Time Chasers. But this looks like a team that could possibly keep up. We've only seen 2.5 minutes of this whole series, and we haven't seen the speed of the Time Chasers like we used to see. But still, they're looking at least to be able to keep up.
The bad dudes actually played against the Backflip Boys at a very starting series. Oh, Primea, he had the goal at his mercy. All right, he will return back. He is a strong person. He will just say, all right, I had a perfect opportunity. And perfect opportunity in front of the net, an open net even, is not something that the post-game Strong were able to say when they were playing against Time Chasers earlier in the day. Wow, all right, Team Black Diamond, the field is yours. Oh, and that save was crucial. Memphipai still coming up in a follow-up, blocked by Primea. Primea can't start a counterattack on his own, but Memphipai just brings the ball forward himself. And this pass won't find anyone, but some inventive plays by Primea. So often today we saw players leaving the ball thinking, we can't possibly continue. Primea sticks to it until the very end.
But the clock is still ticking, and Time Chasers are attacking, and there it is. I was going to say they have to be able to find the net pretty soon, or else they might even lose their first game. But this time, ball gets to the middle, and Keo just misses while Samek is there, and he scores the 1-1. But this is not looking easy for Time Chasers. They're going to have a hard time beating Black Diamond in this state.
It doesn't seem, though, like anyone on the side of Team Black Diamond were expecting that block by Trex. It was a simple affair, just put your car in front of the ball, but that then set up his teammate. And Team Black Diamond were not in any shape or form to challenge the initial shot or just challenge the ball as it is, and they couldn't read it in the end when the shot came. Samek, well, he gets himself a goal. He is the sub for the second series, and now he sets up Memphipai. Well, he would like to do that again. That's, again, seemingly like a simple approach, but enough power and Kyo can't reach.
It was such a good pass. Putting it down, noticing that Mimfapai is waiting there is amazing. The goal was scored with 122 kilometers per hour. As a goalie, when you see that coming, you just have to pre-jump to get it. And he didn't. He waited to see in which corner he was going to shoot it, and he was just too late. And the lead that Black Diamond created is gone.
This is close. Frosty blocked by Trex, and still this bounces in. I want to see that rebound because the initial shot was good, but Trex was always striking it down all the way through. Just to follow up, you just put your card right, and any rebounds go your way, and then into it.
And as soon as that lead was made into play, it's gone. We're tied up again. Black Diamond, they're surprising me left and right, winning 50s, being like up to speed with the time chases, and they're gonna give them such a hard time. It's tied up. Are we gonna see our second overtime here?
40 seconds, plenty of time for the Black Diamond to score. Every single time, seeing them on the attack, seeing the time chaser tremble, really, is how I'm currently seeing this situation. They are being tested, and not every single time they're able to find the answer. That touch by Samik brought the ball to Kyo, and if Kyo opts not to go for any bumps in the net, it's interesting to see that part of their strategy. He was in the way, and I'm pretty sure there was at least someone from Time Chasers in the net, but he opts to do a different kind of rotation. Doesn't give them anything on the other end of the field, and I think right now all they want to do is keep that net empty. No 0-second surprises. Another 2-2 fakes. But this one, a little bit... Actually, the previous one was also surprising. This one, I'd say, is even better.
This is really surprising me. Oh no! Oh, what a save by Kyo. I thought it was gonna be too late, but he recovers just in time to get that save. And now they're on the defense on the side of Time Chasers. He gets past one Trex, tries to get past two, but the defender actually didn't go. Now Mimfapai tries to set up something, but this time the team is catching up. Black Diamond have the speed, the width, and are making it really hard for the Time Chasers to take it. They might even take them in the first game.
It's getting close, but I wouldn't... It's right now, we had some complete shoutouts, obviously. But this one is one of those which... there's a clear favorite that we sort of outlined at the very beginning. Is that top right corner? That was top right corner, Mimfapai stops it. But right now, with the just raw power that and quality, let's just say that this is just some barbaric rage. No, they're playing in a quality fashion. And here's a shot. Here's it going right down. Who was that beat in that challenge? Did Frosty just outright dunk on Trex? I'm pretty sure he just did.
Yeah, this was a follow-up on a play that the Time Chasers made. Trex went for a really risky aerial, which he couldn't beat out eventually. And then he was too late on the rotation because he went for it. And then they got punished. This is something new maybe for them, because in the previous series they could go for every single ball that they desired without any repercussions. But here Trex has to learn that I can't go for every ball if I want to. I can only choose the balls that are good for me to go to, because this time he was too late on the rotation because he played it too risky.
Right, well, what are we to do, Face? It seems like Time Chasers just lost their first game. I mean, how are they going to pick themselves up from the ground? This is exactly what they wanted to avoid, and bam. In the very first game, nonetheless.
Yeah, I wish they said, if we lose one single game, we forfeit, but apparently they didn't. Well, we'll get more games to look at, so that's great. But, well, Time Chasers, they have to, I think, get a little bit more serious. Just be like, okay, we've got real opponents right now. We have to play. We can't do whatever we want. And if we lose the second game, we're going to call up Why Not Party and see if we can get back in here, because he's also a game changer.
Some real opponents does make it sound very harsh towards post-game strong. They were solid. Yes, at some point it did seem like nobody was on the field, perhaps. But the Black Diamond are the real thing. You could see it in their play. You could see how they are not afraid. Sometimes you saw post-game strong afraid to come out of their shell from the defense. Well, it's the Black Diamond are bringing the play to Time Chasers, and it's working out. Oh, there's Keo. Stopped by Trex. Nobody on the follow-up. That defense is really shaky from Time Chasers right now. They bring the ball out. Trex has no boost, but no powerful touch from Keo means that the ball is easily saved by the defenders. Now a clear. Oh, that's some of the basic but most powerful tools in your arsenal. You get a good clear going, all of a sudden no pressure on your net, and you might even get a goal if nobody is back home.
Yeah, they don't have pressure on their net right now, but boy, the pressure that they were previously under, we'll get back to that later because Sonic just creates a first goal.
Speaking of which, Sonic did score in a previous game as well. 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken. But it's so surprising to see that Mimfy and Mimfy is scoring his. But really, we saw Trex just being a monster when it came to attack. In this series, he is surprisingly absent. And maybe that lack in the attack is what's really hurting the Time Chasers. Yes, Why Not Party was a big drop, but right now it's seeming like Sonic is scoring pretty much as often as his teammates, and he's a sub coming into this one.
Yeah, but scoring is not always the most important part, just being there in defense, getting the good passes, setting everything up. Maybe Trex is just not receiving the passes that he's used to and in position that he shouldn't be. And that makes it way harder to score. So we'll see if that is actually what's affecting them. But they have the 1-0 lead right now, but can they keep it? Because we've seen sometimes the Black Diamonds do get pressure. And when they do, I only see panic in the eyes of the Time Chasers. I see double commits. I haven't seen triple commits yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see that these matches.
There were some scary moments on the side of the net where everyone's trying to get a piece of the action from Time Chasers. And while they weren't able to really get it down, it was still very dangerous. There we go. Sonic with second goal of the game again. He is constantly there looking for a goal, trying to prove himself that I'm not just a sub. That was an easy one for him to put down, though. The net was wide open, that initial pass. Trex just placed way past everyone on Team Black Diamond. That's a 2-0. And that's a little bit of a turnaround in this game. While it seems like the Black Diamond is still constantly in the attack, much more slipping past them, and you don't want to give the Time Chasers even an inch.
Oh, you don't, but it's now a 2-0 lead. They're gonna try to make it bigger, of course, because that's the only thing Time Chasers know is scoring. Defense is maybe not their strongest suit, offense is, and they will have to expand on this lead, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Black Diamonds can still score 2 goals.
It is doable, especially if they once again learn the various plans of their opposition. You saw just a moment ago, Trex really loves to go for that block on the wall. This time, they sent the ball lower, I do believe, which didn't allow Trex to get any touch on it. And here, oh no, not exactly back from Frosty just said, yep, I'm not going for that one. Great pass faults, but I'm definitely not reaching downwind. Still continuing on the attack, now it's the Time Chasers trying to get themselves a third one. Mimfy, even with that awkward touch, still outplays everyone. He's playing keep away. And even that is working out for his team. Keeping the ball in the blue half is exactly what they need right now, not allowing Black Diamond even an opportunity. And then the rest will come. Trex not blocked. A follow-up Primea. Nobody can get. No, it's Mimfy who gets a touch in the end. But Primea was there just a millisecond earlier, which allows him to put the ball straight into net.
Smart play by Frosty hunting Trex there so he couldn't get into a good position to save that ball. And then the pressure keeps on mounting and Primea gets a good boomer towards the net. Save wasn't enough. They get the 1-2.
Oh, no.
But is it enough? Because I think it's 3-1 again. No, the post has something to say about that shot. He doesn't want it to go in. And we're still a 1-goal game.
Oh, scary to get that straight after the kickoff, and that shot was incredibly dangerous. Trex, you will see more of these double taps as the longer we go on. So if you like those, tune in for that every single time Time Chasers are playing. You can expect that from Trex. You can expect that from Why Not Party. Mimfy also is willing to join the aforementioned party of double taps. That is skill, that is quality, and that was not stopped. Black Diamond just didn't know what to do.
That's almost impossible to say. If he did that so quickly, you have to know that he's going to do something weird, so you're just going to go for it to block it at least. But now it's still Black Diamond. They have to respond, want to keep it up, but no, Mimfy is here. It's like, guys, 2 goals might not be enough. I think 3 will be.
How about a third one? Oh, and it's the classic. Set your teammate with the backboard pass. And if you don't have anyone on the backboard and on the ground you're not as confident in making those plays, this is exactly what happens. And I'm getting flashbacks to the previous season, really, Face. It's exactly how I've seen WeIte, the home of Memphify, and Professional Ball Chaser. I'd say more often WeIte than the Professional Ball Chaser, but still, they've dominated the backboard. And you immediately could show if you don't have some anti-backboard defense put on there, then you're just getting ravaged.
It sure is. It's one of the hardest spots to defend still. And a lot of teams have a lot of issues with it. But it's just the way you rotate. You just have to look and like, okay, how am I able to defend the goal and the backboard if need be? You saw Trex there attempting to do that. He just went on the wall and he could choose both. The ball didn't go backward, so he didn't have to. He could still jump off the wall to get it towards the net.
Well, there you have it. 1-1 in a series. And I hope that wasn't anything important that just fell.
No, nothing. No.
Alrighty, well, there you have it. Time Chasers did indeed get themselves back into the series. This has perhaps not been as the clean of the game. You could see Black Diamond not always being able to keep at the same pace as their opposition. And quality still continues to come on through. Samic still is worthy to be subbing one at party right now. He is, just like in this game, I'm pretty sure in the previous game he also has scored the most amount of goals for his team. So he's there on the forefront. And just the fact that perhaps Trex, as you mentioned, might not be getting the same passes that he's been used to. Maybe the chemistry indeed has changed a little bit. It's no longer the same chances that they're used to. It's still seemingly working out for them in the end. And now Black Diamond, despite shocking what seems to be the Goliath of this matchup, just like it was in the previous matchup versus Post-Game Strong, it seems like the Time Chasers have shaken themselves off and saying, all right, that was a fluke. Now we're sitting up straight in our chairs, we're clutching our own gamepads tight, and we're gonna show these Black Diamond folks who do I think they are, exactly what Time Chasers are meant to do.
And there was also an issue on the side of the Time Chasers. Trex didn't have any in-game sound. That could have been huge in his decision-making and the things that he went for. So maybe this will make it even better for him, and that's why he didn't get those goals he usually gets.
Well, I would agree, this would make a heap of difference. Hey, even for myself as a caster, hearing the in-game versus just not hearing anything at all, it makes such a huge difference in the energy levels. And for them to hear the opposition coming in through, or just being your element, you're used to hearing that. All of a sudden it's cut off, and bam, you are just uncomfortable all of a sudden. Demolition by Primea removes Memphify from the field, but doesn't really allow Team Black Diamond to get anything on the other end of the field. It shows that, hey, in war, every single method is good, and right now, perhaps a couple of bumps and demolitions in the defense. There's an open net. Trex, out of all people, misses, but nobody is close from Black Diamond to utilize.
No, but that was close, though. They do get away with it, and they're pretty happy about that. But are they continue to get away with it? There's gonna be some bumps, but the defenders could recuperate in time. It's still a 0-0 scoreline. In my opinion, the most important game of a best of 5, because who's gonna get this match? Who's gonna get that match point first?
Well then, Frosty from Team Black Diamond has some ideas about that one. Kiel, the patience showed by him on that play, he just waited for a ball to land on him. He know that his opposition, I believe that Trex perhaps flying in again, wouldn't have a touch on it, so he just waited. The moment he made the contact with the ball, he flung it so well, and it was almost like a miniature backboard play. Nobody from Team Chasers seemingly had the time to react, and now they're still peppering the side of the Time Chasers with shots. Frosty, number 2, face. All of a sudden, it's Team Black Diamond who just are an unstopping roll.
Normally, Time Chasers expect when somebody is dribbling out of defense or getting the ball out, that the ball won't end up in the hands of an opponent. But this time, it happened multiple times that the clear just got to an opponent and he could immediately shoot.
This kickoff, though, not working out in favor of Team Black Diamond. Both teams had the same ideas. We'll have a second player cheat up And in this kickoff position, you do that. You send someone from the middle. And I think it just proves how much faster Trex is when it comes to the kickoffs. Or perhaps that was just a lapse. And hey, I have time. I have time for that one. Just a little bit of a... I'm not even sure when I was going for that. One way or the other, you see the goal. You might see even another one, Trex. Wants those double touches, not getting it. Mimfibai, short rotation, looking for Trex. Samik is already approaching as well. Another second touch sets up Mimfibai. That is a tad too heavy for him to take on the end. Will try his hardest to block any shots. And as the ball is moving down forwards by the team Black Diamond, they're looking to increase their lead. 2 goals is comfortable. It has been reduced to just 1. They're still in the attack. Keo looking down. There's folks waiting. Primea, I don't think that was his ball. And his teammate couldn't reach it. This allows Time Chasers to move out in the attack. If only for a second. That ball surprisingly avoids everyone and goes back in the orange hat.
Black Diamonds are just going. They're like, we can match you guys in speed, we can match you guys in aggression, and we can match you guys in skill. And they have been. They got the lead right now, and they only have to defend it for a big 2 minutes. But every goal they score is, of course, welcome for them. If they win this, they will get their first... Oh, is that in again? Yes! It's like every time Time Chaser want to move out, and they get the pass going, it just crumbles. They're not connecting, and they're playing so risky that if a pass doesn't connect, you're gonna get an empty goal. And every time it happens, the Black Diamond's like, okay, we'll just keep shooting. Nobody is back. We'll get the goal. It's amazing.
See, that's the thing. Usually it works for them. If Mimfibai put a little bit more mustard... Oh yeah, maybe by this point mustard is not the option for it. But if he put a little bit more power, Trex would have followed that ball up. But that small mistake, and who's that on the ground? Mimfibai, I'm assuming he's out of boost. In any other situation, even if he had the boost, he should have gone up for it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but Sonic on the wall missed the ball, so Mimfibai didn't expect that. So he's like, oh, you missed the ball? Well, I guess I'm out of position. I don't know if they have a quick dial for Why Not Party, but I would pick up the phone right now.
Oof, boy, yeah, that's and who do you substitute? Because right now it's... We just in the 2 previous replays, we sort of pointed out Mimfibai as being that player who perhaps is his 2 missed touches or misplays brought the doom down on the Time Chasers. But I'm not sure if... Actually, it might be looking like it's him. Trax is still his powerhouse. He still finds himself on the edge of so many attacks. Samik has been scoring the majority of goals for Time Chasers in this series. So do you indeed just drop Mimfibai or say, okay, Samik, thanks very much, but we want to get our good chemistry back, something that we absolutely demolished post-game strong with?
I would definitely try to set up Samik for a multitude of reasons we don't have to get into right now, because I don't know if that's even gonna happen. I think Samik's gonna play it out, so they have to work with what they have right now. And what they have right now is a 4-1. They are 4-1 down, maybe even 5-1. No, Samik gets it just barely, but they have to score 3 goals to get even to overtime. And it's not working out for them. It looks like the first match point will go to Black Diamond.
It is weird to hear those words. I'll most likely use those same words a little bit later on, but 45 seconds remaining and the Black Diamond still in the attack. You see really still plenty of energy on that side, still so many ways they can threaten Time Chasers, and maybe a couple of these small double commits are going in wrong. That was a big one, actually. That one won't be on target, but that was almost unforgivable, and while they have the lead, which will be cut down by 1 goal again, that was that very aggression that you mentioned that Time Chasers do. Oh, usually it works out for us. This one was a little bit off.
And again, maybe Samik scores it, but the most goals that Samik has scored are just assists from Trex. And he just gets the ball in front of the net, and I think a lot of people could go score that, not to get anything away from Samik, because you have to be in that position, which is the hardest spot. But when you're there, it's just a regular old shot. And here's again Trex trying to get another one, doesn't get the 50, and it looks like we'll have a 2-1 lead in series for Black Diamond.
Yeah, still is somewhat unbelievable, but there you have it, folks. It's a 2-1, and those magic words, it's a match point. Match point for Black Diamond, and I'd say they're poised to take it. By the way they have been playing, by the way that Time Chasers are we knocked down a peg. I can't describe it any other way. They have been put in their place almost. And all that overconfidence, we are the best in this league. Maybe not. Maybe all that quality, yes, it definitely showed against post-game strong, but where is it now? Where's that chemistry? Why is it that Memphipie all of a sudden, again, maybe just in this game, maybe it's the fact that the replays have showcased that. But how come that it's seemingly Memphipie every single time that is getting in the wrong spot or doing something strange? Ooh, Black Diamond have a big task in front of them. But I'd say right now they are in a grand position to do just that, to upset the what we are considering the top team of the league in a very first week.
Yeah, they could definitely do it. I didn't see this one coming. I don't think Memphipie is in the wrong position like that often. It's just they're playing aggressive because they think the passes are going to work. They think the ball is going to connect. They think the big clear is coming. And when that doesn't happen, yeah, of course, you're in the wrong position right there. But if the clear was just good or the pass was just good, you're amazing. You're in a good position and can immediately try to get that shot or that backboard pass or something else. So I think it's just general issues on the side of not being consistently hitting the ball as you're used to. That's making it hard for the time chase. But they still have time to get back into this. It's now game number 4. They are 2-1 down. They only have to win 2 more games and they can certainly do it. They can do two things in my opinion. One, they can try to get those hits and they're going to try to play as aggressive as they usually do. Or 2, they're like, okay guys, we don't have Why Not Party here. We're not as consistent as we're used to be. We're just going to play a little bit more defensive, a little bit more safe. And eventually we will get the chance. We just have to make sure that they don't score more than 1 or 2 goals.
I think for me, it's going to be the option number 2. You might not be able to fix your passing, especially when you know that the passing plays, the touches have been keeping you down. So instead of trying to force it, and by extension perhaps make it even worse for yourself, adjust. Be safe, but safe gets you games. Like, defense wins you championships is one of the phrases. So in here, it might be just exactly what they need to just bring it back in. Remember that third game versus the post-game strong where Time Chasers have started playing much more simpler but much more stable. I think they need to bring that playstyle in this game.
Yeah, and they'll certainly be looking forward to do something that they're gonna win it with. This is already a risky start, but see, that's the clear that I'm talking about from Memphipie. And then Somic is in a great position. Just because the clear gets there, they get a good offensive opportunity, and they might even score. Yes, there it is. There you can see how important those hard clears are.
And look at Somic. He is in that careful position. He gets a proper touch on it, and Black Diamond are still recovering from the initial shot. It was simple. It was incredibly effective. Well, let's go, Time Chasers. Seemingly, you have unlocked the secret tracks. Gonna get almost dumped on. Getting this close, but still not close enough. What do they still have in the attack? Time Chasers setting up something. Memphipie misses again. All right, not a big problem. Ball is still in the orange half. Nobody takes the control of it. Black Diamond still carefully bringing this in. They have to play from behind. Previously, they've really been bringing the game to the Time Chasers, sometimes forcing the Time Chasers to play from behind. This time, what a test. And double commit. You mentioned those previously. Can they get a double tap? Somic gets double tapped. Primea is happy. And man, this is shaping up to be quite a series to finish the day on.
A great play by Primera. Getting that double tap so quickly just before the defender gets there, perfect. But also, I want to highlight something else that's a little bit more negative. What was that double commit in the corner? 2 players diving at the same ball. Time Chasers, you should have known better to not go for that. And they immediately get punished. And the punish game of Black Diamond has been really strong this series.
There's Frosty in front of the net. The pass from Primea was great. The following shot, perhaps not so much. And look at that. Reads from Time Chasers are not that great. They're constantly allowing the ball to go past them. And then in the effort to sort of reposition yourself or chase that ball, I think they're putting themselves in much worse defensive position as a result. I think the net is that much more open. I think that was a bump on Trex. I saw Keo and Trex out of the corner of the screen. And that bottom right corner should have been defended. Will we see that on the replay? Because that was important, because that corner is supposed to have a Keo in it. Something must have happened off screen.
Yeah, there happened two things. I think Kyo got bumped, so he couldn't make it in time. But the defender that was challenging the ball also jumped up pretty high because he thought there was going to be a backboard. And as a defender, you could realize it like, oh, I've got two guys in the back. If they backboard, I'm fine. I can go low. But he didn't realize that he jumped up too high. Defenders thought that he was going to block low. He didn't. Shot on net. And Time Chasers are back in this.
Oof. And in a fashion, really. Right now, partly I wouldn't be surprised if they just pure anger, pure emotions are leading them towards this one. Or perhaps, again, they've sort of put it a little bit more simply, so reason. And my god, that will give Memphibai so much confidence. That pass that finally connects, and that 1-2-3 from the whole team, I think this is exactly what they have been looking for the whole series.
And this is the difference. That pass from Samik in front of his own net, last game it wouldn't have connected. It would have been immediately dunked on and been a goal. But this game, they're feeling it. They're connecting to each other. They went for option number one, and it's working out for them. They're just going to keep doing what they normally do. And this time they do connect passes, but ooh, the defense, it can still be shaky.
Oh, straight to Trex, and Trex is not shy about bringing that weak ball straight to the under end. If you look at that, like anywhere, that ball could have gone anywhere. And yet Trex not only is ready to make that stop, he was stone cold staying in that position. But then, in a blink of an eye, he's already in the midfield, outrunning everyone from Black Diamond.
It looks like Time Chasers have found their jam again. They know what they want and they know how to do it. They're passing, they're shooting, they're letting the ball do the work instead of themselves. And every chance has been developing has been dangerous. And this is gonna look like a good shutout in this game. I don't think Black Diamond can recover. They need to do something and figure out what are we gonna do next game to at least make sure that we have a chance in the fifth one, because this has been a lot of goals in a small amount of time.
This is looking like the start of a runaway game. Just with the ease with which all of a sudden the Time Chasers are able to put those balls in, they've not given the opposition time to recover. Frosty with an opportunity could have made it 5-2, but not exactly precise. And then immediately you see a counterattack. Immediately just Trex is out there using all his boost, but he's so much faster than his opposition. Now setting up those in any sort of play, just get the player in. All of a sudden, two players beat by that simple play off the wall. And Time Chasers are now in such a solid position to take this game. This might be theirs. The comeback, while it is a possibility, I'd say this is as strong as that the Time Chasers have looked all through the series. And that counts for a lot. Frosty, great flick, good start, comeback time.
That was a good play. He went there for the wave dash, but he got the boost, so he didn't really need it. Then got the flick on Memphibai. Maybe Memphibai thought he didn't have boost because, yeah, he didn't see it, and then he got the lucky pickup on the middle, which he flipped over at the moment that it spawned. But still, I think Time Chasers are doing great. I don't know, Trex, he didn't have in-game sound, and now he has. It looks like he's been feeling himself, but because, damn, he's going so quickly.
And it could be just one small cog that wasn't working out for them, but the moment it starts working, the whole machine all of a sudden comes out alive. And also, I've noticed that I'm quite a flip-flopper. I say, well, I mean, 5-1, that can't possibly be. And then I immediately say, oh, they scored a goal, comeback time? Well, there's still a possibility. Kyo doesn't receive that clear that was headed straight for him. But as destined it was, not getting on the other end, setting up something. Frosty is blocked by Trex, and then Sami comes in the corner as well. Those touches will not be getting the ball on target. How much pressure can Black Diamond exert on Time Chasers? They're still putting the ball in, but the moment they leave the ball unattended, bam, there goes Trex already in the attack. Samic, easy put back, and that's something that they do very well. Put the ball past everyone, and I don't even want to mention what Crimea just did.
I don't know what happened to Trex during the break, but he has been playing out of his mind in this game. He, I think, almost single-handedly made sure that they scored those 6 goals. Yes, he did. He has 4 assists and 2 goals. So he has participated in every single one. And now, with this scoreline, we're going to go to Game 5, all-deciding game. And is it going to be Trex who just makes sure that his team gets over the finishing line victorious? Or do Black Diamonds find a way to get back into this?
Not in this game, I don't think so. Again, just like I said, maybe comeback. A lot of time has passed, another goal was scored. from the Time Chasers. And it just, you can see that that was an individual play, really, in the end. And this will be a lovely touch. That will be only a second one for Frosty. But it's something that shows that, yes, their defense can be open. And again, Kyo not rushing into that play. That, I think, has netted Black Diamond a lot of goals in the series. The fact that they are weighting their possibilities, considering the best one, and then going for that one. No hasty decision. At least not 100% of the time they're making something wrong. Here, they might get a second one, or that would have been their fourth one. But in the end, it will be Time Chasers taking any second now, folks. Any second now. Game number 5. Someone, definitely one of you wants to win. Maybe. Still not. Alright, well, whatever it is, Face. Whatever they want to do in this game. Time Chasers have brought the series back. We had Black Diamond, Time Chasers, Black Diamond, Time Chasers again. And now it's time to bring it to the very coveted game number 5. And I'm pretty sure it will be as crazy as another game number 5 we just saw a series go.
For sure, it's gonna be crazy, and I don't know in which way yet, but I do want to mention one thing. Time Chasers, your goal for this season has failed. You've lost 2 games instead of 1, so they might feel pretty down about it. They might wave, yeah, but we're playing with the sub card, but that doesn't work in this game. Maybe you can use that in but not here. And, well, the last game, I don't know, just Trex was a monster in that last game. If he shows up as big as he did in game number 4, they will take it. It doesn't even matter that much what Mimfapai and Sonic will do, because Trex will just carry them all the way around. But still, Black Diamond, I complimented them on their speed in the first game, and I think that's what made them win. I want to see that back. I want to see those speedy guys going over the field, contesting every single ball, and not giving them the room.
It will be a pretty tough task to do. You saw many times that the Black Diamonds were beaten in many of these plays, and I just feel like, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough, especially with Trex now alive. You're going to need to be careful, but they know that Trex is back on his horse. You mentioned in the middle of the game, and by the end of it, it was the same thing. It was, he has participated in every single goal that his team has scored. So 2 goals, 4 assists. He was everywhere. He was also making saves. Samick was constantly the recipient of the passes by Trex. So just a lot of avenues need to be stopped by Black Diamond to sort of get Time Chasers to a more manageable position, whatever you might call it. But it's in no way it's going to be an easy task. But to turn everyone's heads and say, wow, this has been a great week. Frosty! That is the way you start the game number 5. That's the way you turn heads, and that's the way you start what potentially could be an upset of the day. Here's the first one for Black Diamond.
What a pass by Kyo. That was perfect. It had so much speed, and still Frosty could reach it. And they open up the scoreline in game number 5 with an exquisite goal. And they want to keep on going. They're not done yet. They're like, guys, we're going to take this game. But Trex has something to say about it. He gets the demo and the goal.
I'm not sure if the demo really played that much in Hansa. Yes, Kyo was stopped. Kyo, with his touch, already was sending the ball towards his own net. So just not enough reaction. And 2 players, that double commit almost doesn't count because they got the job done. Even with a little bit of flashy plays as well. Getting an extra explosion. But look at that. Off the kickoff, Team Black Diamond, perhaps not in this attempt, but they had more players in the orange half than the Time Chasers had. That had all the potential of a great attack, but also had a potential of a complete disaster if all of a sudden several of their players wouldn't be able to get back.
I'm just looking at Trex and how he moves along the field right now. He's into this. He knows what he's doing. He knows where he's driving. He knows whatever he needs to do to take this. I think he's going to do amazing in this last game and maybe even carry them over. We'll have to see yet because we're still down the line. But again, a good center by Trex, almost scored by Sonic. He tries to score it himself, doesn't make it work. But every time Trex is involved in the offense, it's looking so dangerous.
And that was a reminder for Black Diamonds. Trex sets up someone behind him. This time again it was Sonic, then Mimfapai tried to block it, really made the situation still dangerous for just a bit. So you need to watch out for those tracks, every single time just coming in through. He is a danger to behold. Perhaps a couple of more teams will now learn exactly how dangerous Trex is, and coming into the next weeks, they will know that they need to stop him. The only problem is they also need to stop the rest of the Time Chasers. And while you have 3 players, you also somehow need to attack. God, it's a great task. Samik almost scores on himself. We're in a dangerous task. Frosty, patient. Will they get it? Oh, almost under. I'm pretty sure he was trying to go for a fake. He saw Samik and Trex go up high in the air, so thinking, maybe I can sneak it up down. But the pressure is relieved. And Time Chaser just for a second can breathe. But not for long. Crimea past Trex. This attack still was continuing on. 2-1.
The speed again, Crimea was up so early, gives us a few beautiful twists like a professional ballerina would do it. And they take the 2-1 lead again. This is gonna be so close. Will Black Diamonds do it, or is Trex here immediately with the equalizer? Yes, yet again, they got scored upon. 3 seconds later, Trex is like, it's okay, boys, I'll make sure we're tied up.
Wow, Trex is going for that strategy of I'm gonna go right flank. Make sure you play that ball from the kickoff to the right flank. I'm gonna rush there, which made it so that he beat the Black Diamond player to the ball just by a mile. It was not even a contest, and that just throws all of your rotation up in the air. That was the last player for Black Diamond. That just your net open, nobody can return back. Kickoffs are like that. They are quite often that reset is just throws you off. And on targets, Memphipai does get that in the end. In the mess of the cars, he still manages to slip that one through. And just like that, the lead by Black Diamonds is gone.
I don't know how much butter he put on that ball, but it slipped between 3 defenders. They must be quite happy about that, because like 10 seconds ago, they were 2-1 down. 10 seconds later down the line, they're 3-2 up in this all-deciding Game 5. And you want to win this, because this might be even the battle for first and second seed already. Just as the way we see Black Diamond play and Time Chasers being that kind of the favorite, you want to have that higher seed at every time. We're in week 1, and I'm thinking about this stuff already. We'll just first have to see who'll take this game before we can go into that.
Folks, I think we have converted Face into a big fan of Baltic eSports League. I mean, he's already into it. He's already thinking about the finals. We indeed have just started. He has seen the quality, and he approves. All right, we'll just pretend that Kyo didn't just miss that outright. They're at Time Chasers on the attack. Not immediately going for that ball. Samik has to use a lot of boost coming on that on the flank. He will still play spoiler, still try to block any of Chad's attempts. And that's set up by Trex, also not going anywhere. But nobody from Black Diamond's also going for that one. No powerful clear by Frosty, and no proper touch by Time Chasers. It means that really danger isn't there. But the ball isn't moving down to the orange half, and that's ultimately exactly what Black Diamond need right now.
Only 1 minute remaining. Black Diamonds have to do something. They are behind and they need to score. Do they want to reach that overtime? But they've been caught up in defense more than they've been able to shoot on the net. They're trying to create offensive plays, but every time just someone of the Time Chaser is always back ready to get the ball to the side.
That ball was stuck high in the air for a pretty long time, and I'd say Black Diamond had a control of it one time, but Memphipai just kept it in the same place. But unfortunate positioning, those bounces that's off the wall, off the curved side of the wall that you're finding it hard to read, make it hard for them to continue the attack. Maybe here, Memphipai, oh no, they remove the goalie, and they remove a player that is able to start an attack. Even if they get something, actually they're still getting something. Pass to Kyo. Frosty will be honestly Crimea going for it, but not on target. The plan was there, but it might not be enough. Kyo is beaten by Trax. As the ball is stuck in the blue half, a miracle needs to happen. The super carry, but that just drops. Oh, doesn't drop. Trax let it go. Pass in the midfield. Snuffed out by Memphipai. Trax high up. Still can be kept alive. Not only kept alive, but also a goal. I swear to God, Kyo had it, and yet that's a Trax goal. And that's a big fat period at the end of this series. We are better, say the Time Chasers. But it wasn't easy for them. It has been just a big old flashing neon sign. This is not as easy as we thought.
No, they were like, we're not gonna lose a single game. Well, guess what? You almost lost your first series. It was pretty close, but eventually Trax showed up, and Trax did carry. He did so much work in the last 3 games, and he made it happen for Time Chasers. I was really excited to see that. I didn't expect that. Seeing earlier today, Time Chaser just slapping around their other opponent, and this time they had to show up.
Well, yeah, it was really two different teams. In a way, it was two different teams. We obviously didn't see one at party in the second series. Seemingly that did play a difference. We weren't able to do like a proper experiment with our one at party would play versus post game strong. Then Sonic would come in, but something has definitely changed. It wasn't as easy, and to try to separate how much of a bigger roadblock Black Diamond was versus post game strong. Or just how much big of a difference that absence of one player has made. But it definitely has shown that, wow, they are not infallible. They're most definitely are beatable. And right now, it does seem like, hey, it's perhaps not as clear. We considered Team Black Diamond to be roughly on the same level right now, perhaps as the Backflip Boys and Imperial, I do believe. So as a result, there's now many more threats than I feel like Time Chasers need to consider.
Certainly. I think they're also maybe not the favorite because it's still Time Chasers, but they did amazing. Black Diamonds is for me at least number 2 right now. We didn't see one team today because they weren't able to play, but I want to see how they fit into this spectrum.
Yeah, well, we'll be hopefully seeing them next week. So, as I said at the start of the broadcast, do mark your calendars every single Sunday for the next 6 weeks. And it will be at 5 p.m. Local Baltic time, at 3 p.m. Local Baltic time, 2 p.m. Central European time, and 1 p.m. if you're somewhere in UK, like Tegmat is, like someone we have seen today, someone who has beaten Mind Games eSports eventually with a pretty solid, pretty solid result. So, hey, it's... Wow, it has been quite a day, FaZe, though, and just starting from the very beginning, we saw some newcomers. We saw some old faces as well, and I'd say by this point, although I'm pretty sure actually Black Diamond, Time Chaser, still we could talk for ages about this series because the way that both these teams have played, the way that Black Diamond, really, you mentioned it many a times, and I completely agree. The speed. They were not afraid of the speed that Time Chaser have been bringing against them.
No, they certainly were not. And I want to see, like, that there's a chance that they got that speed because they're playing against a speedy team, or that's their own initial speed. So I want to see them play against, like, Imperials or something and see how they line up against another team that's maybe on the stronger side of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, it's a good way for... Well, we'll see exactly what they be able to show up in the future weeks. Because right now, for Black Diamond, technically, this is the strongest challenge is done, I'd say. Time Chasers on every single team's calendar will be that, oh my god, this is the big test, how we're going to fare. I'd say, despite losing, Black Diamond have fared incredibly well. That they should show me, hey, we can fare with this team pretty well. On the same pace, so we are saying right now we're going to be there, like in the second place at the end of the season. But I'd say time has now come to look back at today. We have had many games today, and why not just quickly check exactly what happened today, starting from the very first game. Of course, the bad dudes unfortunately succumbed to the Backflip Boys. 3-0 was the series. Every single game in that went 2-0 to the Backflip Boys, so not exactly the most convincing fashion. But you never could see the Backflip Boys really losing. Well, I think we can just chalk it up to perhaps the first week blues. But Backflip Boys, knowing that they're also one of the favorites in that top 2, top 3 range, they definitely need to step up for next week.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they're gonna do against another team because, like, we've seen that their opponents weren't that strong because they couldn't score. And of course that happens. That feels bad, man, for the bad dudes. But can they keep it up against another team? Again, I want to see them too against the Imperials or the Black Diamonds because, in my opinion, those 3 are highly contenders for a top 4 spot. And maybe one will fall off, maybe one won't. But those 3 teams, in my opinion, have a great chance to making top 4. In which position, I have no clue yet. But I want to see if this was just a 1-week thing or it's a regular, consistent playstyle.
Well, time will only tell. 6 more games, as we mentioned, and each one of them could be pretty important. You don't have much time. You play each team once, and then bam, that's it. Of course, we also saw today just what Time Chasers are really capable of, and that is scoring a heck ton of goals. 20, I think we ended up 25, so it was 8, 12, and then 5-1 was the final score for that third game. Post-game strong, they will need like a day off. They can take tomorrow off and just sit at home and recover, because that was dirty what Time Chasers has done to them, but it also shows that you need to be ready for this team. The best players combining together, you know that this is going to be a doozy of a matchup.
Yeah, and maybe rely a little bit less on your post for that one, because if you're getting shot that often, your post won't move for you. He's always like, I've been battered enough today. I'm gonna let this one slide in. You need to keep your post happy if you want to have your post game strong. So maybe give them a little bit of padding, like an extra little bit of love, and maybe it will help you out a little bit better next time.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the name for that team, Post Game Strong, refers specifically to the fact that in a lot of their games, their net is constantly being attacked and the posts are being hit. Or is it, KP might be able to confirm in the background, or was it that the Post Game Strong themselves really love to hit the back post? One way or the other, back post? Just any regular post, I suppose. Moving on forward, Imperial versus Mind Games eSports, and this was a much closer series than I anticipated. First of all, we had our very first overtime. Second of all, Mind Games eSports with their new setup, with a new roster, has really surprised me. Flake at some points was just popping off, and I feel like, hey, this could be a team that can really hit one of the potential leaders pretty strong, as long as they can keep as many mistakes away from the game as possible.
Yeah, you saw in the beginning, it was really hard for Flake to get into it. Like, his first two games were a little bit shaky. It didn't really work out for him. Then game 3, 4, and 5, he showed up and he went to town. But then his team didn't really work out with him anymore. His team started strong and moved down a little bit, and he started poorly but moved up during the series. And you saw that in the middle, where they're both almost getting it, it went great. But when they moved out of each other, it just didn't work for them anymore. So I want to see them play consistently, and I think that's going to be their biggest challenge.
Well, they have time to fix just that. For Imperial, though, it's a good win against a team that perhaps they weren't expecting to win, but it was, as I said, a much closer matchup. And then, of course, coming into the very last matchup of the day that we just saw, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of these teams more and more. It was, of course, Team Black Diamond versus Time Chasers, and that shocker in the game number 1, Team Black Diamond taking it off the favorites for the whole season, and in a strong fashion. From the word go, they weren't afraid. They said, Time Chasers, to quote Monty Python's, we pled on you. And they did. They absolutely did.
Yeah, they saw the word go, and they know what it means. They want to go, and they brought the speed with them. At one certain point, I thought, yes, they have a really good chance taking it. But then Trex fixed his audio issues, and he was right in there. He put his teammates in his backpack, and he carried them over the finish line. He did amazing.
There was so much carrying by Trex. His back must be hurting. Great showing by Samik, though. I would love to mention how well Samik has come into the series, and being as a sub, he was able to slot in that position that has been left by One Out Party. And hey, I'm pretty sure he still was the top scorer for the whole series. But man, Team Black Diamond showed everyone in this league that Time Chasers can be beaten in the very first week. So hey, come all. Try to get at least one game of Time Chasers, 2, 3. How about 3? Everyone will now be able to trying to beat the record of Team Black Diamond.
Yeah, I'm just now seeing a movie scene from Batman versus Superman. Batman, then you see Time Chasers as Superman, and you see Black Diamonds as Batman asking, "Do you bleed?" Well, apparently they do, because that was really close.
Oof, I just put the overall standings for after today on the screen. Obviously, you can see that Team Small Brain still haven't played a game, so they're sitting in the respectable 4th place. But that's just off the fact that they indeed haven't played. Time Chasers at the very top. Their game difference is 6-2. Their goal difference is plus 29 goals. That will be the tiebreaker in case the team have the same amount of won games, the same amount of games won and lost, then the goals will be coming into action. Right now, those numbers are just mind-blowing. The fact that Time Chasers have that much of a lead. Post-game strong, I'm sorry, but you were at the end of this beating. Is there still time for improvement? The worst, I think, is behind you now to go back and climb back up and make sure that not just your post-game, that everything from you is strong. And next week, well, let's hope that you will be able to take all the lessons from today and use them well.
Yeah, I hope they will, because they were still okay, but like they were just a too small like caliber for the Time Chasers. And next week they might have a little bit of an easier opportunity to get a win, because this time the opportunity was probably too small to even think it was realistic.
Well, it was a tough run for them. But folks, that pretty much does it for us in the final after this final series. And speaking of which, this final series does need a little bit of an update. How did that happen? I guess I was too eager to see what's gonna go on. Indeed, our very last game was Black Diamond versus Time Chasers. You can see the results at the bottom for specific games. But Face,
yeah,
big thanks for you for being here. This has been, I'm pretty sure you hasn't been left. Well, not upset. Obviously, I don't think any amount of Rocket League would upset you, but definitely you were pleasantly surprised by what we had in store.
Yes, for sure. Certainly the Mind Games matchup and this last game that we saw were amazing. But we also still have to pick an MVP, I think.
Oh, yeah, we do indeed. Wow. Right, so now I'll have to go and look back at everyone who has played today. So obviously, the easiest one would be to just pick an MVP from Time Chasers. That's almost a given. But I'm thinking it's pretty obvious. Yes, they played well. I'm thinking, who else can we possibly pick?
I think you have, in my opinion, there are two options who both start with a T.
Interesting.
I think, of course, we have Trax in there. Like, his performance in that last series pulled him over the line. So, I think he's up there. But we also have Tagmata.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm not sure if folks backstage really want us to get a good a decision together, but I really love what Frosty has been putting on the field. I'd say that Frosty's contribution to the Black Diamond series might have been even bigger than what Tagmata has done for Imperial, despite him being incredibly solid in the defense, being a patient player who does not take the risk and is always that anchor who helps his team either work well in defense or build up the attack. Yeah. But if I had to pick, I'd say Trax. Now I'll have to go for Trax. Yeah, it's knowing what Time Chasers did today, knowing how big of a difference Trax's supposed absence did. Without the sound, he was not the same Trax. He was just half of them was definitely missing. The moment he came back, out came those double taps, out came those continuous string of passes setups. Can't say that word right for whatever reason. And as a result, he has been maybe not scoring the most, but definitely contributing to his team incredibly well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. If it wasn't for Trax stepping up in that last series, they would have lost their first game. And, well, I'm really happy for them that they didn't, because they will probably also like now, oh, we're not the only good team out here. Oh, we actually have to play now. So I'm looking forward to the Time Chasers showing up big time again.
Well, that was all for the first week of action here at BSL Rocket League. CSGO and PUBG has already happened earlier in the week, but don't worry, both us and them will come on later at a variety of the channels. So do sub or just follow, just kindly follow, press that, whatever the bell icon is. Been a while since I've done some Twitch action. And of course, stay tuned for more action. And also, of course, we'll mention the schedule quickly at the end of this one. But this has been an incredible first week. We've seen some, at least on our end, I have been incredibly happy to be back here in the casting seat, having such a wonderful fellow as Face, obviously, commenting here. So as we end up this day, just a quick reminder as about what exactly is happening. So this whole season will culminate into the grand finals over in Tallinn for yet another HyperTown Expo. which will be happening on November 23rd and 24th. The tickets are already available. Mention them a little bit later on. Not only CSGO and Rocket League, but also Guns of Boom. You might not have heard about this game, but do check it out. It's a mobile game, but it has a huge scene, incredible prizes, and the finals for that tournament has been brought to Tallinn for HyperTown as well. So several teams from all over the world, US, Brazil, India, Europe, will be fighting for the grand prize of $170,000. That's biggest prize pool in Baltic eSports history, and you can imagine that the competition for that will be incredible. So if you want to get some tickets, it's pretty easy. You go to www.hypertown.pro and you grab either a 2-day festival ticket for €21, a 1-day ticket for €17, or if you want to be the VIP, very important person, you get one for $60 and get some goodies. Information about exactly what the goodies are and just how cool can you feel about yourself are available right there, hypertown.pro. But do hurry, those are early bird prices. So until the 1st of October, those are the prices. Later on, they will be expensive. And I'm gonna say you don't want to miss it. I'll be there. I would maybe even go if I wasn't casting this, because the earlier in the year when HyperTown happened here in Riga, it was tremendous. So I recommend everyone who is able in Tallinn, in Estonia, or even in the surrounding states, the surrounding countries, go there. It's gonna be incredible. So much stuff to do. For example, things to do: cosplay. Yet another cosplay competition will be held over at HyperTown. More than 40 Baltic cosplayers, and you can be still one of them. Until 27th of October. Applications are still open, so if you have a character you wanna cosplay, for example, I don't think anyone has ever done a cosplay of us Rocket League casters, or even Rocket League cars. So be a Rocket League car, Rocket League ball, dress as me, Jar of Jam, dress as him, Fates, dress as League, my other co-caster, and just surprise us somewhere on the field. And even if you can't go, there's still a possibility for you to do something cool and win some cool prizes. Every single Wednesday starting from 7 p.m. Play on our servers, our PUBG servers, earn points, and win yourself some cool prizes. Go to www.BESL.Pro, that's BESL.Pro, to learn more about that, see what the prizes are available, and hey, just throw your hat into the ring and see if you're able to do something. But with that, I say that's it. Face, thanks again so very much. This has been a pleasure to having you here. I perhaps couldn't have wished for a better starting week, and hopefully, perhaps we'll see you later on in the season if you are up for it. If you're willing to join us in this humble league, which is proving up to be quite a banger.
Yeah, it sure was fun, and I will take you up on that offer if I find the time for it. I'm also gonna check in my agenda if I can go to the finals, and if I'm going to, I'm gonna also attend the cosplay, and I already know what I'm gonna cosplay as. I'm gonna cosplay as Robo Jam.
I told you, we needed a cosplay of a caster, and here, this could be a fantastic opportunity to do just that. Folks, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned or check the information down below the stream to see exactly when the next streams are going to be. CSGO and PUBG is happening during the week for Lithuania and Estonia. Latvia is playing CSGO during Sunday, starting from 11 a.m. local time. But all that information will appear on your screen just momentarily. But thanks so much for watching. We're hoping to see you next week at the same time. That's 3 p.m. local Baltic time, 2 p.m. Central European time, for more Rocket League action, for more of these fantastic teams, for a showcase into more Baltics Rocket League. Until then, I've been Jar of Jam. He has been Space. We'll see.
Spelając i firma trzecim typem labastu no Gallini signatura predmet klaviatúry tamaan osuhom ja odnostačilo pomstala lava tiešām skaistu ja viņš šāds turpinās spēlēt šogad.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart can thank you. to the base, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.